Good evening, good evening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Welcome in. We are just getting started. Welcome in. Trying to get some debates going. So if you disagree with anything up above, please do send a guest request. Let's try to get some debates going here. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Looking to get some debates started. So if you guys are interested and you don't agree with anything that I'm saying above, please do send in a guest request and let's discuss. Let's discuss. Speaking of which, earlier I was talking to a friend of mine about some occult conspiracies, and we were talking about the conspiracy of the hand over the eye, and I was telling him about the Solabusca tarot key. This deck here that has a card in it called Lenpio. I'm gonna see if I can find it without having to dig too far into the deck. And here we go. As you can see, the card Lenpio has a figure or a character with his hand covering his eye. Right? Now this deck originates in 15th century Ferrara, Italy, which was a city-state. And it is a deck that supposedly outlines a dark Gnostic hidden grimoire. And it supposedly outlines the 22 major arcana cards supposedly outline a hidden grimoire of predatory and assault sorcery. And if one can decipher the deck, you would have deciphered one of the mysteries of Carthage. So, very interesting. Do you do tarot cards? I do read tarot cards, yes. What's up, Mystic? What's up, that dude? How you doing this evening? Hope you're having an awesome Friday. Dude, channeling is real. I've met hundreds of aliens in my head. They appear in my head and talk. So I would say that's probably some form of schizophrenia. But if you do believe that it is aliens, I would ask you for your epistemic justification. Hello, hey Celestial Ebony. How are you? What do you think of Initiates of the Flame by Manly? It's been a long time since I've read anything by Manly P. Hall. But if that is the text that if that's the text that I'm remembering, isn't that like Is that one of the texts that he wrote about the Brotherhood? Is that one of the Brotherhood texts? Or am I thinking about the wrong text? How popular was witchcraft before Christianity? Was everyone doing it? No. It wasn't as popular as anything else. And it would depend on what area of the world you're talking about. But because witchcraft is a European practice. But it would have been as popular as any other religion that didn't use war to convert people. Yes, it is considered schizophrenia, but they are real beings. They actually project here. So those two statements cancel each other out. So thank you for your input, but we don't have to interact. Thank you. Why don't people stop to think maybe the aliens are trickster spirits they're talking to? Because people think that they are above getting tricked. Right? They think that they're the special chosen ones. Even though they're not going to say that, they're not going to say, I'm the special chosen one. That is what they are alluding to. If they can't ever be lied to, if they can't ever be deceived, every spirit that they've ever come in contact, which, of course, I don't believe that they do come in contact with spirits, but assuming they do come into contact with spirits, every spirit that they come into contact with is always some benevolent, helpful type of entity. Those people have ego problems. They think that they are above getting lied to, that they can't have the wool because their chakras are aligned, and they listen to the sound bowl, and they meditated under the Joshua tree, and all this other nonsense. It's no different than how a Christian, especially a modern day Christian, right? Non-Orthodox, someone who doesn't follow the first 1,000 years of Christianity. Just like how they can look at you and tell you that even the devil can masquerade as a being of light, right? And so he's deceiving you. Well, if the devil can masquerade as a being of light, how do you know he's not deceiving you? The beings that I work with are not all light beings. There are some demons. There are some dark spirits that I work with. So they're not all beings of light. So there's no need for the devil to appear to me as a being of light. But the people that he probably would appear as a being of light to would be the Christians, to deceive them into thinking that they're worshiping the correct deity. They say that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled would have been to tell people that he doesn't exist. I would say it would be to get Christians to believe that they're worshiping the right God. Over centuries, tens of billions of Christians think that they have a relationship with Jesus and everything like that, when in actuality you're having a relationship with Satan. It's the same sort of ego. The same sort of ego there. I'm good. How are you? I see you're debunking the New Age stuff again. As always, we got to stay on it. But I'm doing well. Getting ready for my New Orleans trip. About the Brotherhood and a kind of overview of ancient mysteries. Okay, so then it was the right book. Okay, because it's been a while since I read anything by Manly P. Hall. Okay, so it is the right book I was thinking of. All right, so then to answer your question fully, I guess Manly P. Hall is a good primer on certain things, but that's all it is, right? That's all most of his writings are. They're just primers. So you might be able to... I don't know, say you're reading one of his texts and it mentions the Egyptian mysteries, right? You might be able to have a surface level conversation on the mysteries of Egypt after reading one of his texts or two of his texts or three of his texts, but that's really about it. You wouldn't be able to get nuanced with it. You wouldn't be able to go too deep, right? It would just be surface level stuff. I would look at Manly P. Hall and almost everything he's written as occult and esoteric 101 type stuff, right? It's not bad, but it's not deep, mysteries or anything like that. The stuff that's in his book you can find in any Western esoteric book. But I guess for the layperson, Manly P. Hall can be looked at as like a one-stop shop. You don't have to go and buy 6 different books on 6 different topics. You can just get his one book, and that'll give you a good primer on multiple different topics within Western esotericism. But it really is just a primer. So, greetings, Mystical Rebel. What's up? What's up, Dr. Mama? Wait, what's Hermetic for real? What is the Kabbalion? The Kabbalion is a new thought fabrication by a man called William Walker Atkinson, not the 3 initiates or whatever. It was written by William Walker Atkinson. It is a new thought text, not a Hermetic text at all. If you want to venture into legitimate Hermeticism, I would recommend to you books that are found in the traditional corpus. So things like the Divine Pymander, things like the Virgin of the World, things like Asclepius, things like the Emerald Tablet. Notice I said Emerald Tablet, singular, not Emerald Tablets, plural. There is no Emerald Tablets. There is no Emerald Tablets of Thoth or any of that nonsense. Sorry to all the Billy Carson fans out there. That's bullcrap. That's a lie. There is no Emerald Tablets, but there is an Emerald Tablet. So those types of texts that are found within the Corpus Hermeticum or Hermetica 2, the Stobaean fragments, the postmodern papyrus of Abaris, things like that is what I would recommend over the Kabbalion. I mean, in Africa, the occult was just simply a way of life. It was called mystical science. That is correct. But I think if you're referring to what I think you're referring to, Celestial, I think the person was asking specifically about witchcraft. Yeah, many ignorant Christians will tell me Ifa is a deity and Oshan is a demon, and they don't know anything. They don't know anything. I think a lot of Christians are worshiping an egregore. I would agree with that. I would agree with the modern day version of Christianity. I would certainly agree with that. Orthodox, I wouldn't, and even some pre-schism Catholics. But any of the modern day denominations, any of them, yes, I do agree with that. Why do you think the elites aren't occultists when there's occult symbolism everywhere? Because of the very, very top thing, the thing above number 1. I am an occultist, right? I really do the occult. And when I look at the elites and the things that you conspiracy theorists say they do that is occult, and I look at it as an occultist, I don't see anything that resembles occultism, right? I don't see any the symbolism that you guys think is occult is not. There are literally occult symbology dictionaries that are out there that you can get, and you're not going to find these symbols that you guys swear up and down are demonic and occult. It's not going to be in there. You're not going to find it because it's not demonic, it's not occult, it's not satanic, it's not anything. It's simply good marketing, and you're falling for it. So that's why. Just like if you are a doctor, if you are like you went to medical school, you're board certified, all that, and you're enjoying your Saturday walking in the park, and you sit down on a bench and someone else sits down next to you and you overhear their conversation and they're talking about medicine, the same medicine that you specialize in, but everything they're saying is bullcrap. And you know it because you are a doctor. You literally just got done surgery yesterday. You are a doctor, and you hear someone pretending to be a doctor. You would be able to pick out the bullshit, right? Well, remove doctor, insert occultist. That's me. In this scenario, I am the doctor. And the things that you guys are saying that the celebrities are doing, that the elites are doing, that is occult, is not occult. It's not. And just by you saying it is, doesn't make it so. You need to demonstrate how and why. How is Britney Spears dancing with an anaconda demonic? What makes that demonic? Because there was a snake in the garden? So what? So what? That doesn't mean anything. There were also snakes on board Noah's Ark. Hence, there are still snakes. So, snakes obviously must not be evil if Noah saw fit to save them. So, how is that evil? How is Jay-Z holding up the rock sign, which you guys mistakenly think is a triangle, but it's actually a diamond? How is Jay-Z holding up the rock sign demonic? Where in any occult literature does it state to hold up a diamond sign? It doesn't. That's how I know that these are elites, that these celebrities are not occultists. Because they're not. How do you work with demons? Mainly through evocation, but sometimes through a petition-based magic. You cannot serve two masters. I don't serve two masters. You cannot be with God and work with demons. What makes you think I'm a Christian? I don't know what are you talking about? Are you going to visit the tomb of Marie Laveau? Of course I am. Or I'm going to try. I'm going to try. God created angels, they chose Lucifer and became demons by choice. Okay, thank you for that. I'm not sure why you're saying that's, no one said anything to the opposite of that, so you just randomly blurting that out doesn't really do much of anything. Oh, okay, I thought they were asking about the occult, not witchcraft. No problem, no worries. My first astral projection was when I was asleep and then suddenly woke up. And my soul, your soul what? And are you sure that was astral projection and not lucid dreaming? It sounds like it may have been lucid dreaming if you were sleeping. Astral projection takes place while you're conscious. If you are asleep and it happens, it's lucid dreaming. The issue is that astral projection and lucid dreaming are extremely closely related to the point where the methodology to perform one can be used to perform the other. They are interchangeable. So if you learn, so say for example, you claim to not know how to lucid dream, but you know how to astral project, then that first statement would technically not be true because the techniques are interchangeable because they are extremely closely related. Some people, like the Golden Dawn, would even throw in scrying. They would say that the techniques of scrying, especially scrying in the spirit vision or something like that, is also very, very similar to the methodology of astral projection and lucid dreaming. And so therefore, if you can lucid dream or if you can astral project, technically you would also be able to scry. It's not to say that you'd be successful with it, but you would know the methodology on how to induce a scrying session. It's funny the people who think they're the mouthpiece for God only read one book. Exactly. My thing is, why do people think Masonic symbols with the occult and then link Masonry to evil? I don't know. But from the Christian perspective, they live in a very dualistic world, but only in their spiritual life. In their real life, in their regular life, nothing else is like that. They have multiple choice, right? But for some reason, God said everything else in life is going to be multiple choice, but your religion is going to be black and white. There's only one option or the other. There's no multiple choice in your religion. But everything else in life, I'm going to give you a multiple choice. That logic doesn't follow. But I don't know why they think outside of that, outside of since everything is black and white, then if it's not with us, then it's evil. Outside of that, they don't have a logical reason as to what. It's just belief. They just believe it is evil. They don't have a intellectual reason that they can provide that would follow why they think it's evil. It just is, and it just is because they say it. So, where does the Kybalion come from then? It comes from late 18th century, early 19th century New Thought movement. It was written by William Walker Atkinson, the honorary leader of the New Thought Society. Snake is wisdom. In some traditions, yes. I believe Hollywood does put spiritual stuff in videos to enlighten us, not to be evil. I mean, some artists, might have a little knowledge of things here and there, but I don't think the majority of them are doing anything like that. I keep seeing Pan and I love him. Really interesting. Why do you keep seeing Pan? They don't research anything. If it's not in their Bible and they don't agree with it, it's evil. Yeah, well, at least for the modern day ones. I know many Orthodox who are very knowledgeable on things outside of the Bible because they actually teach that you should read things outside of the Bible. They're not sola scriptura. That's a modern day Protestant sort of a thing. We go only by the Bible. Most Orthodox don't. They agree with and believe in reading external sources. Of course, those external sources do have to be approved by the church. You can't just read anything. But at least they're not sola scriptura. They do agree with reading letters from, church fathers and reading, articles from popes and papal bulls and all that kind of stuff. So it's not all Christians. Some of them can step outside of their Bible and read other things. But the modern day, I don't have a religion, I have a relationship. Yeah, those guys, not so much. Also, why do they believe spiritual celebrities give us spiritual messages in music to hurt us, though? Yeah, I don't know. That is something that I don't understand. The ones who are spiritual, like Erykah Badu or something like that, she's not trying to curse you. Like she's not trying to curse you with her music. I don't get why people think like that. That's the most ridiculous thing. May I have some advice about chaos magic? Sure. What do you want to know? Doing emotional labor for others' incompetence, a no for me. Amen. Can fat people astral project? Yes, of course. I was asleep, but then woke up immediately and couldn't move, and then I left my body. So it sounds like you had sleep paralysis and then induced lucid dreaming. Because if you were awake, then you would have been able to move. But if you weren't able to move, that means your brain released that chemical to paralyze you because you were still asleep. You were in that half sleep, half awake state, which is the proper state to do astral projection, lucid dreaming, and scrying. The phrase "you can't serve two masters" low-key ties back to slavery. Really? I was not aware of that. I thought it was biblical all the way. I didn't know that it was a slavery term. I can definitely lucid dream. Awesome. May I please have your advice about chaos magic? Sure. What do you want to know? I can't just give you general advice. That's the most ridiculous thing. What specifically do you want advice on? People like to demonize Jinny Aiko when she literally advocates for healing. Yeah, I don't get it. Does weight affect astral projection? No. Good evening, Desiree. Like, they stay calling Beyonce evil because she puts African spirituality in music. They do that. And yes, her and her sister are amazing devotees of African spirituality. I don't know which one exactly. I know Solange engages in a few different things. I know she does some hoodoo and things like that, but I don't know about Beyonce specifically. I also think artists who are African spiritualists get demonized because of racism. Yes, very true. Hello, wing-ridden angel. Welcome. The first point is one true Scotsman's fallacy. I don't think you understand the context that I mean it. You think I mean it in the context like a Christian would mean it, as, someone who left Christianity for another religion was never really Christian. They never really believed. I don't mean it in that way. I mean it in the way that they never really did anything that is indicative of witchcraft, right? When you go onto these people's pages, or you go onto their YouTube channel, or you're on another YouTube channel and you happen to see, an interview with, X witch finds Jesus, or, X Satanist turns to Christ, or, X occultist, gets saved, or something like that. And you watch them or you listen to them and you hear their testimony. If you know anything about witchcraft, you'll notice that the things that these people are saying that they engaged in was never witchcraft. The things that they were engaged in were New Age. The New Age is not witchcraft. I know everything in your view is black and white, but in the real world, it's not. So I don't mean it in the way a Christian would mean it. I mean it in the way that these people were never doing anything that denotes actual witchcraft. When they say things like, when like the host of the show asks, oh yeah, so can you tell us about your time? Like, what are some of the things you did when you were in witchcraft? And they say things like, oh yeah, we did yoga and sound bowl healing and auras and astrology and energy. That's not witchcraft. Those things do not denote witchcraft. Those things can be used in witchcraft, but that does not denote witchcraft. That's like saying you brought a transmission, just a transmission, and you're calling it the full car. No, a car can use a transmission, but the transmission itself is not the full car. Witchcraft can use astrology, but astrology itself is not witchcraft. That's what I mean. Not a true Scotsman's fallacy. Nice try, though. Nice try, though. What tools do you use to astral project? No tools, really. I mean, other than flying ointments. No tools, really. I definitely agree with number one. Take Kat Von D for example. It's so hard to get into that state, though, because I overthink a lot and I'm not able to get into it. It sounds like you might just need some practice with meditation and calming the mind and focusing on just one thing. I did my first tarot reading last night. Awesome. Congratulations. Yes, many things about serving in the Bible comes from slave Bibles. Oh, wow. Most ex-Christians turned atheists weren't actual Christians. Yeah, you don't understand how I mean number one. But nice try. What do you have against the Ghostbusters? Well, the movie, badly written, badly directed, terrible acting, box office bomb, absolute garbage can. But if you mean paranormal ghost hunting and all that other stuff, it's their methodology. The methodology that they go about trying to get in touch with spirits of the dead. I don't know of any necromantic or necrosophic system that would agree, which necromancy is the way that every culture under the sun utilizes to get in touch with spirits of the dead. I don't know why the paranormal researchers want to be different, but every other culture under the sun throughout history has used various practices of necromancy and necrosophy to reach out and contact the dead. But for some reason, the paranormal guys think that they don't have to abide by that and they can do their own thing. And it very well may be the case that they can. It very well may be the case that whatever methodology they're using is valid. The only thing I ask is justify it. Why should I go on ghosthunting.com and buy a $100 spirit box, which is nothing more than a modified radio, and sit in a graveyard and press the on button saying, hello, hello, are there any spirits here with us? And think that that is going to get me in touch with actual departed spirits. I need someone to explain to me esoterically how and why that would work. And no one can. I'm just a big old meanie. You can't tell me what to do. That's all I get. I don't get any actual tangible answers. That's what I have against the Ghostbusters. How do you know Solange does hoodoo? She said it. She has said it. Beyonce and Solange are Ifa. Beyonce's head is Oshun and Solange is Yuma. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know they were crowned. Okay. Wow. I was not aware of that. Thank you for the knowledge. What is a GFL? It's the Galactic Federation of Light. Most ex-Wiccans are liars. It only sounds good to people who don't know anything. Bingo, you hit it on the head, Celestial Ebony. And the sad part is, and I hate to be this guy, but like 99% of the world doesn't know about actual spirituality. So they're easily deceived. And it sucks. Galactic Federation, which is a NAA agenda, a negative alien agenda? No. That's what's that one site? That's some energetic synthesis type nonsense. Is the Hat Man an avatar of Asmodeus? The Hat Man is not real. The Hat Man is a creepypasta. The Hat Man is a Reddit no sleep creation type thing. It's not real. Can a non-African practice voodoo or hoodoo? So you would have to get initiated to practice voodoo. So the spirits would have to choose you for that. Hoodoo, some say no, some say yes. I would say if you do not have any connection to, the AA community by blood, probably not. But it's not an organized system. So there's no hierarchy. There's no official church of hoodoo or anything like that. So there's no one really stopping you. But voodoo, anyone can practice as long as you receive initiation at a legitimate house or temple or associate. But hoodoo, while that doesn't have any formal organization, some say no, some say yay. It just depends. And I mean that in the same way. They may have believed, but were never really saved. So you can't make that determination. According to your own belief system, according to your own Bible, you are not to determine who gets saved and who doesn't. That determination is held by the Father and the Father only. You do not get to make that judgment. So you're breaking your own. You might want to go. Do you do prayer closets or no? You're probably a modern day Protestant type of thing, so you don't have a prayer closet. You should have a prayer closet if you want to follow the first 1,000 years of Christianity. You might want to retire to your prayer closet and pray a little bit, and then maybe go talk to your spiritual father. Do you have one of those? Because according to the first 1,000 years, you should have one of those, and confess. But you probably have a modern day relationship with Jesus and all that. So, but yeah, you don't get to make that determination according to your own belief system. And how do you feel about people saying witchcraft and hoodoo should remain separate? Hoodoo is more along the lines of a methodology. So I don't see any issue with people incorporating hoodoo into other practices that it fits nicely with. There are certain things that it might not fit so nicely with. But I don't see any issue with people doing hoodoo and mixing it with, witchcraft or something like that. I feel like New Age people get messed up out here because they dabble and mix everything. Exactly. I was on a witch's live stream earlier, and I had asked her, I was like, so, what do you practice? And she was naming, I have a little bit of this sprinkled with a little bit of that. Then I mix it with some of this, and then I throw in some of that, and a little teaspoon of this. And I'm like, so you're confused. Like you don't know what you do, because I bet you if I were to do what I wanted to do, it was her live stream, so I didn't. But if she was on my live stream, I would have asked her, okay, so how can you reconcile all of those? You just named me 8 different cultures, 6 of which were at war with each other. So can you reconcile these belief systems and how you're clashing them and mixing them together for me? But I didn't do that because it was her stream and I didn't want to disrespect her on her stream. But yeah, the New Agers do exactly that, right? They take whatever they like from here, whatever they like from here, whatever they like from here, and they put it in a pot, stir it together, and go, here's a 5-star Nusret meal. When in actuality, it is a gas station burrito. But they want to sell it to you like it's, a $2,000 steak from Nusret. But it's not. What books or resources do you recommend about occultism that are not from a Christian perspective? I have a Getting Started playlist where I have several videos for books that you can check out. I think for beginners, I recommend, there's about 25 different books I recommend. You can check those out. Did you say flying ointment? Yes, flying ointment. Yes, I did. Flying ointment. It's a traditional witchcraft practice. Excuse me. When you get a chance, can you please give more in-depth info on your mentorship program? So the mentorship program is mainly for people who are already practicing. It's not really for people who don't really have a practice. I mean, I guess you could use it and we can build a practice for you, but you shouldn't let me build your practice. You should build your practice, right? I come into play when you've already built your practice and you've got a few years under your belt, but you're at that hump. and you feel stuck. You don't know where to go in your practice. You've got 3, 4, 5 years under your belt, but you don't know where to go next. You feel stuck. My job would then be to help you break down those roadblocks and those barriers and find where you can take your practice to the next level. So that's what the mentorship program is for. It's not really for people who are absolute beginners. I guess you could use it, but then you'd be at my mercy and you'd have to follow the regimen that I set out for you because you didn't do it yourself. And you might not like the regimen that I set out for you, because I work from a very Western ceremonial perspective. Not everyone is interested in that. Some people want folk type magic. Some people want chaosophy. Some people want, some left hand paths type stuff. It's best for people who already have a few years under their belt. And then also, it's, I guess just the best way, it's for intermediate practitioners. That's probably the best way to describe it. Hermetica, no Kybalion. Yes, correct. Hermetica, no Kybalion. What does GFL stand for? Galactic Federation of Light. How many occultists do you think it would take to cleanse Lake Lanier from those spirits? A lot. And I don't think that's the only one, right? There's a couple. There's like a couple of lakes where there's a lot of departed slaves, and hauntings, and all kinds of good stuff. Can you comment on ceremonial and Solomonic necromancy? Sure. What would you like to know about it? You should buy a spirit box to blow money. Are there any correlations between demonology and Grimtrad? Yes, they're the same. They're essentially the same thing. Grimoire tradition uses demonology extensively. Most of our knowledge of demons, at least from the Renaissance forward, comes from Grimoire tradition. Because I promise you, most people aren't reading Augustine, and most people aren't reading, Jerome and Cyril of Alexandria and stuff like that. They're not reading that. Even though they do give us, treatises on demons, most of it comes from the grimoires. Voodoo isn't real. Well, thank you for letting us know, Silent Pro. We were all wondering, and now you've set the record straight. Thanks for that. Also, I don't know why you'd want to go to Voodoo and be non-black when they call you to pay a debt back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Would you list 4 things unique to Hoodoo? Unique to Hoodoo in what way? Like no other system out there uses those things? That would presuppose that I am familiar with every system that's out there. I know of things that are unique to the ATRs and the ADRs that might not be found in Western occultism. Well, the ATRs and the ADRs are Western occultism, but wouldn't be found in Western ceremonial magic, or wouldn't be found in like traditional witchcraft and things like that. But things that are completely unique to Hoodoo, I wouldn't know. That presupposes that I am familiar with every system out there. Those initiation ceremonies are expensive. They are. Several $1,000s. Did you have to get initiated into Hermeticism? No. Not at all. False Scotsman fallacy. I already explained how number 1 is not a Scotsman's fallacy. May I please ask what's the difference are in the Kybalion and Hermetic? Sorry, I'm here to learn. They're nowhere near the same thing. The difference is 100%. There is nothing in the Kybalion that is Hermetic. There is nothing within Hermeticism that agrees with the Kybalion. It's like saying, can you explain why Buddhism and Aztec religion are not the same? They are completely different. There's nothing within the Kybalion. None of the Hermetic principles or laws or whatever they're called equate to anything within legitimate Hermetics. Actually, there's quite a bit within the Kabbalion that is anti-hermetic. What readily comes to mind is the law of gender. The law of gender is completely anti-hermetic. Gender doesn't play a role in Hermeticism until you incarnate, and incarnation is the last step on the chain of manifestation. So it's the last thing you get when you come into life. And when you pass and you're about to repeat the process through the chain of manifestation, gender is one of the first things you shed because you lose your body. You're now just a soul again. So gender is the last thing you get and the first thing you shed when you come and when you leave. So it's not that important. Not important enough to be made a principle. So there's much within the Kabbalion that is anti-hermetic. No disrespect at all. They do that because information changes with times, like science. What are you referring to there, Crystal Chris? I'm not being snarky. I'm just asking if you have to keep it to one culture. What do you mean by that? Do you have to keep it to one culture? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm sorry. If you can elaborate, I'll be happy to give you a more in-depth answer. And if anybody wants to come up in the box, please do send a guest request, and we can debate any of the above topics in real time. Hey, Mystic, how are you? Have you heard of the Shams al-Marif? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Is there anything paranormal you believe in or like to humor? So I believe in the paranormal. I certainly believe in ghosts and things like that. I don't believe that the way to contact them is to buy a modified AM/FM radio, aka a spirit box, press the on button, and say, hey, is there any spirits here with us? And then you expect, spirits just to talk to you. I don't think that is the way to go about it. Apparently, it's a book about black magic. Of course, we know magic is not black nor white. That is very true. That is very true. Do you know Papa Legba, and does he have a feminine counterpart? I'm aware of Papa Legba, but I am not part of any system that venerates or works with him or anything like that. I don't have any sort of permission to work with Papa Legba, so I would not be the person to ask on Papa Legba or any ATR, any Eshus, any Orishas, any Loas, any Pombagiras. I am not permitted to work with them, so I'm not the one to ask about any ATR or ADR spirits. Is there a galactic federation of darkness? That's a good question, Sid. I guess the New Ages would say the reptilians. Ooh, they would be the ones. They would be the ones. Excuse me. Why do I see a symbol of a man's head with horns, one up, one down? Where do you see that at? Excuse me. Voodoo science is very much real. Indeed. What's the subject? All the topics that are listed right up there. Give me 1 second. Yeah, all the topics that are listed above. Oops. Who was that? Oh, okay. Give me 1 second here, guys. Alright. Put that right there. And, wait. There we go. There we go. And let me pick this up. Okay. Apologies. Do you have to have a few years under your belt of magic to be able to manifest awesome paying jobs? I mean, if you want to do something like that on the regular and, like 70+% of the time, yes. But it's not a requirement to do it like at all. There are countless stories of, first timers achieving amazing things their first time doing magic. I dream of a symbol, a man's head, two horns, one up, one down, fire everywhere. What is it? I don't know. I don't practice dream interpretation. Did you see the university in Europe trying to give occult degrees teaching ritual magic? Yes. I think it's great. I think it's great. They're not giving out degrees in doing magic. It's the academic study of magic. And I think it's fantastic. I think we need more people like Dr. Justin Sledge and Dr. Angela Puka and Heinrich Bogdan and Stephen Skinner and Stephen Flowers. I think we need more people like that in the world. I think we need more scholars and academics giving occultism an actual look and not just dismissing it because the physicists don't understand it and the chemists don't understand it, right? I wish more people outside of just anthropology would give occultism and mysticism and esotericism a more serious academic and scholarly look, because without them, it just becomes folk traditions, right? It loses its historicity. It just becomes legends. It just becomes like folk practices, and I think that would be a sad state if the occult as a whole ended up in that scenario. So I think it's great. We have a university here in the U.S., the University of South Carolina, a couple years ago, just started offering degrees in occultism. I think it's fabulous. Have you astro traveled before? Of course. I'm Hermetic. Nice. Welcome. Have you seen the TikTok from the English Archbishop talking about Wiccan Satanism? Yes, I follow him. Archbishop, I don't know, but he wears the pink or the purple, not pink, it's purple. He wears the purple robe and he wears the rainbow flag here, and he's very accepting of everybody. I think he's Old Catholic. I think that's the denomination that he follows. I think he's Old Catholic, which is pre-schism. I forgot what his jurisdiction is, or like what his diocese is, but yes, I do. I'm very familiar with his content, and I did see that video. I saw it like 2 days ago. I enjoy his live streams. I would say though that I wish he intellectualized spirituality a bit more, but that's fine. Will you accept a ghost in the box? Sure. If the ghost can somehow achieve enough level of consciousness, which would be physical, to hey, thank you for the cat, the witch cat, or whatever that is, the cat in the hat. I think that is. Thank you, Julie. Thank you for the witch cat in the hat. But yeah, if the ghost is able to press buttons, then sure. But if the ghost is able to press buttons, then, he doesn't need to be on a TikTok. He needs to be, proving that ghosts can actually physically do things. What do you mean the Kybalion is not hermetic? That it's not hermetic. It's not hermetic at all. Nothing in the Kybalion resembles anything in the legitimate hermetic texts that come between 4th and 2nd century BCE. The Kybalion comes from late 18th century, early 19th century. Nowhere near close to 4th to 2nd century BCE. Nothing within the Kybalion is hermetic at all. Do you believe in channeling through exorcisms? That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? Channeling through an exorcism? How do you mean? The point of an exorcism is to drive a spirit out, not to bring a spirit in. If you're channeling, you're bringing a spirit in to communicate with it through you, and you'd be the mouthpiece. To exorcise the spirit is to remove it, usually forcibly. So those two things don't equal out. Every time I hear Spirit Box, it makes me think of Bumblebee from Transformers. Well, I saw that only because I'm a huge Haley Steinfeld fan. But I saw Bumblebee, but I don't remember that scene. but it's not important. Oh, you mean just the fact that that's how a Bumblebee talked? That's what you mean. At least I think that's what you mean. Because I'm like thinking in my head, I don't ever remember anybody calling Bumblebee a spirit box. But I think you mean that's how he would talk. And it would be kind of like a spirit box. It would just say random, like it wouldn't be full sentences. It would be just like parts of songs. Have you ever met a witch? I am a witch. Thank you. The Divine Pymander is hermetic, but the Kybalion is a summary. The Kybalion is not a summary. If you put the Divine Pymander up and then put the Kybalion up next to it, there's no comparison. It is not a summary. There is nothing in the Kybalion that is hermetic. The Kybalion is new thought, not hermetic. Also, how would you channel an alien if they're not dead? Live beings can't be channeled. Yeah, I don't know. These people just make things up. Ghosts and spirits are very real. I've seen shadow figures in my house and stuff flying. Yes, ghosts and spirits are very real. That's not the argument. I don't know about shadow figures in your house, but I doubt you've seen stuff flying. What is ATR and ADR? African traditional religion, African diaspora religion. Although the diaspora religion should be switched to maybe ADP, because not every African diaspora religion is a religion, like hoodoo. Do you think most of the elite hundreds of years ago were occultists? Not most, but a lot of them were, sure. The one that readily comes to mind is the Dieste family, who still exists to this day, through their descendant Sorita Dieste, and she is an occultist, well-known, very well-known in the occult world. She writes books on the occult. She does lectures at universities, occult conferences, occult shops that sell books and tarot decks and stuff like that. She's very well known. Her family, I'm sure they go back further than this, but the earliest that I know of them is 15th century Ferrara, Italy, where her great whatever grandfather, I'm guessing, was Ercole d'Este, the Duke of Ferrara. But if anyone knows about Renaissance Italy and surrounding nations, they were city-states, so the Duke was pretty much the president. Yeah, and they were, this is the time that my favorite Pope, the Borgia Pope, was Pope. They were friends with the Borgia Pope. And also at the same time as the Borgia Pope, we know the Medici's reigned. That's how they were able to get back into, because they were in power, then they fell out, then they came back into power, through the help of the Duke of Milan and the Parisian people. They helped them with the banking stuff. So they were all in cahoots with each other. And so her family descends from that line. So they were certainly occultists. And I'm sure, most of the people that they fraternized with were probably part of the same cult. They were part of the cult of Baal Amun, a dragon-type deity from Carthage. But not all of them. But I do think a lot were, but not all of them. At least I think it was 15th century. Let me see. The Duke of Ferrara. Yes, I was correct. 15th century. Yes, I was correct. Excellent. So have you read the Shams al-Marif? I've not read it. No, I've not really read much on Arabic type magic. I mean, obviously I've read the Al-Gaitaim, things like that, but I've not read the Shams al-Marif, or I've not read. Well, I've read Al-Aribi and his on initiation and stuff like that, but that's really about it. I'm trying to get through Nineveh Shadrach's translations of some Arabic stuff, but I've got other priorities that have been taking precedence. So, If a chaos magician learns her true name, what can she do with that knowledge? What do you mean by that? Learns your true name. What do you mean by that? Number one is literally a logical fallacy. Yeah, you don't understand what I mean by it. You're just assuming that I mean it in the same way you would mean it, or in the same way a Christian would mean it. That someone who was a Christian but left wasn't a real Christian because they never really believed. That's not the way that I mean it. But thank you for assumptions. I wonder how much we could advance if we mixed magic and science. I don't know. They tried that back in the Renaissance. But it didn't last long once Christianity was like super dominant. So why is the Kybalion not Hermetic? I've already went over that like 19 times. What is your path? My path is Hermeticism, Grimoire tradition, a revivalist system of neo-shamanism, and some hoodoo. I've learned that the true occultist goal is to exit permanently the reincarnation cycle. I wouldn't say that's the occultist goal. That's the goal of the Gnostic. That's the goal of the... That's the goal of the Hermeticist, right? That's the goal of the Mithraist. But I would not say that that's the goal of occultism. The goal of occultism is to recognize the great work, which starts after K&C with one's HGA. But yeah. He's an archbishop. Yes, I'm aware he's an archbishop. I enjoy your live streams. Thank you, Julie. Ghost in the box, ghost in the box. Hello, Patricia. Patricia E. Is that like Sheila E? What's a good Hermetic text? The Corpus Hermeticum. The Corpus Hermeticum, the standard corpus. The edition that I have is from Ouroboros Press, Hermetica. But you're free to get any edition that you can find. This one's pretty expensive, so you're free to get like a paperback on Amazon or whatever. It's not the style, it's the information. So... would you recommend going to a witch in real life to put a good luck spell on you? Also, how do you know? How do I know what? I mean, I would recommend learning how to do magic yourself. Why would you pay someone else when you can learn how to do it yourself? Just learn how to do it yourself, and then you'll never have to pay anybody to do magic again. You can't use the exorcism rites in manner to summon. No, exorcisms are for expelling, not bringing in. Are the principles in the Kybalion Hermetic or Hermetic adjacent? No, they're not at all. They're not Hermetic at all. I am so sorry about my ancestors. I legit feel bad because they were mean as fuck. Well, you don't gotta apologize to me, but thank you. What defines a witch in your practice? Someone who practices witchcraft? Someone who practices a legitimate form of witchcraft? So what are the celebs and the elites then? They are celebs and elites. What do you mean? Most of them, at least here in the US, are probably Christian or atheists. Every celebrity and every elite that I've heard of getting married gets married at either a church or outside somewhere, like on a beach or, on a mountaintop or something like that. They don't get married in a graveyard. They're not getting... This isn't a TV show. They're not getting married in some dark demonic crypt. They get married in churches, right? When they die, have you ever seen a funeral of a celebrity? It's in a church. Not the Satanic Church. A regular church. Of whatever denomination they grew up in. Like, I don't like it's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't understand why you guys think that the people who get married in churches and get buried in churches are witches. Wouldn't they burst into flames according to your logic? It doesn't make any sense. I'm happy to see more black people going back to African spirituality and traditions. It makes me happy. Indeed it does. Indeed it does. How do you substantiate hoodoo is not a religion? There's no cosmology, there's no theology, there's no cosmogony, there's no theogony. What makes it a religion? It's a methodology. What is the hoodoo cosmology? Opinions on the Akashic records. I believe they exist. Can prayer, meditation, fasting, and charity work provide strong spiritual connection? I mean, I don't know about charity work. That doesn't make you spiritual. It just makes you a good person. That doesn't make you spiritual. Prayer, meditation, and fasting, sure, those are good spiritual things. But spiritual protection, prayer might, but how strong that protection would be would depend on how ecstatic your prayer was. I don't believe just bowing your head and saying, "Dear God, protect me," is going to do much. But I think if you know how to pray ecstatically, or what I call focused prayer, or charge prayer, that might be able to get you some sort of protection. But you might as well just learn, shielding and warding and things like that. What's her name again? Her family were occultists. Sorita Dieste. Sorita Dieste. Do you believe in the concept of a true name, and can you have more than one? No. I do not believe in the concept of a true name. What's with the creepy music? What's without the creepy music? Are there any good YouTube videos, documentaries on voodoo or hoodoo? I wouldn't know of any. I don't practice voodoo, so I wouldn't know of any documentaries for voodoo. And I was taught hoodoo, so I wouldn't know of any documentaries. So we have access to Arabic translators if you need, Rebel. Oh yeah, I know, but I just have no real interest in diving into that lately. There's enough on my plate with what I have. You should try it now. Merge science with occultism. How can I try it? I'm not a scientist. I work in marketing, not science. So there would be no way I can merge occultism with science. How would one get started in the occultist community? Start studying and practicing the occult. I have several books in my Get Started playlist that I think it's like 25 books for beginners that you can use to get started. Check that out. Check that out. Excuse me. Are there any spells to cure mental illness? Yes. The doctor. No, magic cannot cure illnesses. This isn't television, unfortunately. Where do people with dementia or Alzheimer's go spiritually, you think? You mean like after they die? I'm a hermeticist, so they'll wander. If they don't know their way back to God, they'll just wander. Or go back through reincarnation. Have you watched Neon Genesis Evangelion? That sounds like an anime. I loathe anime with a passion, so no. What are the elites if they are not occultists? You must have not heard when I answered that. I agree with some of this. That's okay. If you want to come up in the box, Zach Broadus, we can discuss the things that you don't believe in. What do you think about Kabbalah? It's a very interesting path back to God. Not my path. I prefer the chain of manifestation. But if others prefer the tree of life, that's fine. I just prefer the chain. What is the Kabbalion if not Hermetic? New thought. Is Hermeticism as legit as the actual Egyptian Thoth teachings, or am I not understanding something? Yeah, so Thoth is an intermediary. The teachings come from Hermes Trismegistus. Thoth is an intermediary. He would be Mercury. He wouldn't be the purveyor of this information. That would be Hermes Trismegistus and the various other philosophers and prophets. Moses, Pliny, Philo, Depending on what scholar you talk to, Plato could be thrown in there, or not Plato, excuse me, Plotinus, excuse me, could be thrown in there. So, what do you know about the Hermetic-like knowledge in America? Can you elaborate? What does that mean? The Hermetic-like knowledge in America, like the Kabbalion. Many celebrities don't feel comfortable about talking about being spiritual because of Christianity. Yeah, I feel a constant pull on my mind, spirit, constant synchronicity since childhood. What is it? I I have no idea. Like you keep asking those types of I'm not in your dreams. I'm not with you during childhood. I don't know why you're feeling these things in childhood. That's something that you have to go on a journey and explore and find out for yourself. All right, looks like we got someone who wants to come up in the box.
Hey, greetings to you.
Hey,
I'm
good evening. How are you?
good. I'm Stephanie, and I have some information about Hermeticism, which is dated back to the 1500s, even before that, ancient Greek and Egyptian philosophers that
Okay.
were really smart guys. They knew a lot of stuff, and they co-created this information that's been there for us to use for thousands of years, okay? And
Sure.
the information is just now coming to be to the surface because there's those of us that have been using these principles, applying them to our everyday lives, and able to share the information because now society is finally starting to awaken to the vibrations of the spirit realm, and they want to know the answers, and it's all right there.
Okay.
It's just been hidden in plain sight, related to the conditioning and distractions we've all been hypnotized with. So nobody really cared to know because all they knew was what we know now. And except for the ones like us, we're like, wait a minute, this math ain't mathing. I know there's information that I have in my mind, but I need more of it to trigger the rest of it to come out, to be on the surface.
Okay. So is this in reference to the Kabbalion? Because
So that
I
book
haven't
was
heard anything
written.
hermetic yet.
Okay, so the seven hermetic principles, starting with mentalism
Hmm.
and going down the list. That was all created in ancient Greek and Egyptian times with the philosophers. Alexander the Great's son, Hermes Trismegistus. The book, the Kabbalah, was written in like 1905, 1925. What does it say on your book?
On what book?
The Kabbalah. What
The
what year
Kabbalion
was it?
was written in like 18
Exactly.
something, 18 like
after
60
after
something.
the so this is what happens through the ages. The information is there, and then someone a couple hundred years later will say, oh hey, remember all that information? I'm going to create a book and then publish it as my own. It happens today. It
Right.
happens on
So,
TikTok every day. So, and along with the fundamentals of universal law, that goes back to
okay.
like Einstein, Galileo,
So let's take
Aristotle.
these claims one at a time. So the first thing you said was Hermes Trismegistus was the son of Alexander the Great. What justification do you have for that? Because most scholars say that Hermes Trismegistus
Yeah.
was the son of the first king of Egypt, which would have been Osiris.
Okay.
Um, so what justification do you have for him being Alexander the Great's son?
So there's different sources of information that I have accessed.
Sure.
Internet internetarchives.org is one. I
Hmm.
also have a local library that has the Encyclopedia Britannica
Hmm.
in text. So I always do my own research because I don't
So,
believe that the words of any individuals until I do my
right.
own
So
research.
let's get specific here, though, because I'm going to look
Yeah.
this up right now. So if I
Okay.
go on,
Cool.
right. So if I go on the Esoteric Archives, what do I look up?
Internetarchive.org.
Hmm.
Just type in seven. Hermetic principles or
And that,
Hermeticism and see what comes up. Because there's information out there that is not always factual related
okay.
to, for example, mainstream media. Do you think there's any regulatory like overhead on that? No.
So before we move on,
Okay.
let's tackle the first claim first. So I
Sure.
typed in 7 Hermetic principles, and
Hmm.
I'm getting a bunch of audio files. Um, which of these would tell me that the son of Alexander the Great was Hermes Trismegistus?
So what you'll have to do is open a file that seems legit or like has site sources, like a
Mhm.
bibliography that would show you where they got that information. And then you go
But
to
which
that.
one did
And
you
then
get
you,
it from? I want to read the one that you got it from.
okay, I'm not currently looking at that site and it's been a minute. And for
All right,
me,
that's
and
fine.
now,
Uh,
it's up to you to do your own research. And I wish you
right.
would because it's important
But the
information to
problem,
know.
but the problem with saying that is that if you've done the research and you have the
Mhm.
answer, you should be able to point people in the right
Sure.
direction. You
And I
can't just
did.
tell
I
someone do
just
their own research
did.
and not give them a starting point.
But I just did
So
with
right,
the
but you're
names
not
and a
you're
site
not getting
and the
specific.
library.
You just
Well,
said to go to the
how?
Internet Archives, which is just the Wayback Machine. So what
Okay.
book specifically on here, author and title, what book, like, because that's what I do when people ask me, okay, so then if the Kabbalion is not Hermetic, what is Hermetic? I give actual titles so people can go and look these things up
But
and read
I
them.
also
I don't just
mentioned
say do your own research.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Okay. So
So
specifically,
there's
what on
two
there would I look
sources.
up to find out that Hermes Trismegistus is Alexander the
Transmegestus.
Great's son?
Okay. So you can type his name in. You can do it
Okay.
however that looks for you to find the information. I recommend because we all learn differently, and so my style of learning may not be appropriate for you. And so I want to respect that and
Might not
just
be
give
what?
you my style of learning might not be your style of learning because
Right.
we all learn differently and
Sure.
there's different styles, and so not that mine's better than yours or yours, or you know what I mean, or less than. It's just different. And so
Right.
for me
So we're
giving
not
you
talking about
just
learning. We're talking about getting a piece of
finding
information. So
finding
I'm
the
on
information.
the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Okay.
I typed in Hermes Trismegistus. It came up, and I
Okay.
have this article that says it's about 3 minutes to read. So I did Control
Okay.
F, typed in Alexander, nothing.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
back up and type in great.
Uh-huh.
There are 8 references to the word great. The first
Okay.
reference is Hermes the Great, Great, Great. The second is
Okay.
thrice greatest. The fourth is Egyptian which is great, great, great. So that's five,
Right.
six, seven. And then the eighth is because of the variety, it is so great. So there's no mention on Encyclopedia Britannica when I
Okay.
type in Hermes Trismegistus to Alexander the Great.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
So
As well
where are you
as
getting this
there are other
information?
sources. So I'm going to recommend you go to your Google bar and just type it in. I mean, I really don't
So that's the
understand the
third.
point
So that
of
would have been the third thing that you
your.
told me to go into, and I'm
Okay.
not finding it. Do you have any
Okay, cool.
direct sources? Like if I were to tell you to go do research on witchcraft, I'm going to direct you to actual authors and books for you to go and buy,
Cool.
not for you to stumble around and find your way through the dark. If I have the
Cool.
information,
I
I'm going to give
see
it to you to
where you're
find.
coming from.
So
And your
what directly can
perception
I
of
look
me is a
into?
reflection of you, babe. Your
Yeah,
perception of me is a reflection of you.
you're running away. You are
I'm
dancing in
not
circles because you
running.
don't have the answers.
I'm
Everyone would
actually
respect you a
trying
lot
to have a
more if you
conversation
would just say,
without
I don't have
judgment.
my sources. People
I
would
never
respect
said
you a lot
that.
more. You've given me 2 different places to go and check, and I've done that. And what you said is not there.
Great.
How would you feel if
Okay,
I did
great.
that to you? How would you feel
Oh,
if I said, go read the Corpus Hermeticum and
you know
compare it to the
what?
Kabbalion, and it was a
Go read
complete
whatever
lie?
you want. Do your own research. Find out the
You should be
information.
able to give me the
Compare
starting
it.
point. You saying do
Compare
your own
it
research is a
to
cop
what
out.
you know.
You are
It's a,
copping out. You are
I'm
copping
not a
out.
cop out.
Thank you
I'm
for your
trying to have a
time.
con.
You have copped out. We are going to move on to the next person. You gave me 2 separate things to look into. None of those things validated what you were saying. telling people to do your own research is a cop out. If you've done the research, you should be able to direct me, just like I've been doing when people ask me, then what should I look into? What should I read? You should be able to do the same thing, but you can't. You dance around it. Well, I'm not here to tango. So we're going to move on to the next person.
How you doing, brother? Can you hear me?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. That was interesting. What
I'm
else
doing
wrong
well.
with it, bro?
I it's kind of hard to hear you. Hold on, let me. All right,
I can't even see the
try now.
screen. I can't even see the screen. I wanted to ask you a question to get your perspective on three books that I've had for years and I've been reading for a while and have always piqued my interest. They're all by a man named John Baines, which is not actually his name. The first one is The Secret Science. The
Okay,
second
I'm
one
I'm
is
sorry. It's kind of hard to understand what you're saying. So you're saying that you were looking into something for a long time?
No, I was looking into. I looked into hermetism because it piqued my interest. This is years ago. I'm 54 years old, but I've
Okay.
had these three books right in my possession, and I've been going in and out of them for a good like 10, 15 years. And yeah, really, especially two of them, just like the book, The Secret Science, which is hermetism,
So
book
you've
one.
been getting possessed for 10 to 15 years? Is that what you're saying? I'm
Possessed?
sorry. I'm not really able to hear you, and it sounds like the chat is also saying the same thing. Your audio's kind of muffled.
No. I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Oh, you're going to come out.
Okay. All right, try that. Yeah, sorry, I'm not able to hear him. It sounds like he said he was getting possessed for 10 years. Is that what he was saying? Rome heard him fine. Yeah, I wasn't able to hear him. Rome. He sounded he's. So I couldn't. I don't know. Underwater. Yeah, it's not like he was underwater. But hopefully he gets it fixed and he pops back up in here. But yeah, so if you're gonna hop up in the box here and you're gonna try to present some sort of a counter argument, please have receipts. Please have sources, because I'm gonna ask for them. My computer is right here, and we're going to look for them. I don't expect you to just believe me. That's why I give you my sources. I don't expect you to just believe the words I say. So I tell you the sources to go look at. I would like the same respect in return. If you're going to tell me to do my research, yes, people should do their own research. But if you've done it, you should be able to point me in the right direction. That's no different than, let's say that you're from a tourist town. You live in a tourist town, New York, Miami, LA, whatever. Paris, you live in a tourist town. And someone clearly from out of town, not from around there, a foreigner, comes in, pull up at the gas station, they see you, and they go, "Excuse me, I'm not from around here. My GPS isn't working. My phone doesn't get any service. I'm not from around here. How do I get to so and so? Or how do I get to this place, to this street?" Now, you've lived in this city or this town your whole life. You know it like the back of your hand. So you know the way. You can help this person. And your response is, do your own research. Figure it out yourself. That's assholey. Like, that is ridiculous. You can't do that. If you know the way, help people. I'm not saying get in the car with them and take them there, but you should be able to go, yeah, sure. You see that street right? You see the store up there? Yeah, so that's Delancey Avenue. Make a left on Delancey. Go about 5-10 miles, and then you'll come to the Walmart with shopping center or something like that. Okay, you want to go through the light at the ice cream parlor? Make it. You should be able to do that for someone, and then from there they can navigate. That first guess, she tried, but she wasn't expecting me to look into it. You guys saw in real time a common new age paranormal and occult conspiracy trope. This is what they do. They say a lot of pseudo spiritual things, and when you ask for proof, they might be able to give you a little something, but they're not expecting you to look into it right then and right there. I looked into it right then and right here. It's not available. She said, go on the Internet Archives. I wanted to tell her the Internet Archives is the Wayback Machine, but I was going to let her be great. All right, Internet Archive. So I'm on the Wayback Machine. What do I type in? Type in the 7 Hermetic Principles. Okay, I typed that in. All these different audio files, books, all this stuff came up. Okay, there's all these choices. Which one should I look at? Oh, well, you got to find the one that has references and sources. No. Which one I want to know the one you looked at. Which one did you read to get it? Oh, you got to do your own research. I thought that's what we're doing here. Like, which one did you read? Oh, well, okay. So let's move on to the Encyclopedia Britannica one. What do I type in on there? Type in Hermes Trismegistus. Okay, I typed it in. It's a bit of a long read to just skim over in a few minutes. So I do Control F for Alexander, because she says that Alexander the Great is the father of Hermes Trismegistus. So I'm looking for Alexander. No mention of Alexander. The is too common of a word, so I didn't type in the. I typed in great. There were 8 references to great. I read them all. Every single reference to great. 7 out of the 8 references to great were references to Hermes Trismegistus' name. Great, great, great. The 8th reference to great was just saying that something itself was great. Alexander the Great was not mentioned at all. But she wasn't expecting me to look into it right away. But I did. This is the problem with the New Age. They can't back up the things that they say. And you guys saw it in real time. You saw it in real time. They're not expecting you to look things up in front of them. But I do. Gotcha! You got caught. Caught up in your nonsense. All right. We got somebody else.
What's up, bro?
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
Good. Just new habit of mine, just tuning into some people's lives. When something resonates, I tune in for a bit. So I've been listening for like the last 5 minutes. So I heard her trying to do everything, and then how you just explained the process. So I honestly just have a question for you.
Sure.
How would you perceive and like how would you categorize like plant medicine work, for example? Let's say like, psilocybin, ayahuasca, et cetera, et cetera. What's your opinion on that, and like what would be the sources that you would point me to see how and why you got that perspective?
Yeah, so I don't have any negative views on like ayahuasca or like plant medicine, ethno-shamanism and stuff like that. I don't have any issue with that. I think that if you're going to engage in that sort of practice, you should be under the guise of a legitimate shaman. Most of those plants you can easily get on the street, so you don't, most people probably wouldn't go to a shaman.
I'm talking about really properly done, facilitated by some OGs.
Okay. Yeah, I am all for those types of things. I would recommend doing shadow work before going, or else you'll be in for a really intense,
I have quite a bit of experience in these realms, so I'm just kind
Okay.
of I don't really know your whole take. I just see like some stuff about like witches and stuff. So some of the people that I sit with, kind of basically identify as witches, some of these women, and they're literally like some of the most fucking amazing people in every way. Like I've seen their true character, and they're really, really sweet, lovely, like fighting for the cause, restoring, harmony on this earth through nature and community, etc. So I've seen some people, a lot of religious talk, and some people are just like totally anti anything that is not basically like Jesus worship and that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't really, that's what I'm saying. If maybe I don't know if the other viewers know kind of what your stance is, like spiritually, religiously. I just see like some points here, but not really getting what the stance is on your end.
Well, by religion, I practice Hermeticism. So I'm a Hermeticist by religion, but I practice occultism. So I'm an occultist. I do magic, witchcraft, sorcery, that sort of thing. But my religious belief, so my cosmological framework is the Hermetic framework.
Okay, cool. So that's where you would recommend me to start, because I've heard of it over the years, and I've kind of looked into it very, very shallowly. But
well, not for plant medicine or anything like that. If you want to
No.
study
I'm just talking about
plant
just
medicine, I would.
as learning those philosophies for life. You know, like what, like
Oh,
obviously you stand by it, so you would consider it important to
oh
know.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, definitely. And if you want to learn more, I recommend books like Hermetica. Well, here, let me do it this way. There we go. So you can actually read it. Hermetica, the dialogues of Hermes, Mercurius, Tris, Megistus. You don't need to get this exact one. This one's kind of expensive, but this one, I recommend Hermetica 2 by David Litwa or the Stobaean Fragments. This is excellent if you're into Hermeticism. I recommend
What about the Emerald tablets? Because again, I have a pretty shallow knowledge on this, but I've heard that they were the same. Hermes
so
Trismegistus
no,
and
not
Thoth.
the Emerald Tablets. That's fake. That's the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That's fake.
Yeah.
You want
Okay.
the singular. So in Hermetica, there is the Emerald Tablet plural. Or sorry, excuse me, that's backwards. The Emerald
Singular.
Tablet singular is what you want. The Emerald Tablets plural is the fraud, the scam. So there is no Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That's nonsense. There is no Dr. Doriel. He's a liar. He's a charlatan. His wife exposed him after they got a divorce. So, and all of this is etched into history. I'm not just saying things. You can look into Dr. Maurice Doriel. He's the author of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and all that nonsense. He is a fraudulent scam artist. So you want the singular Emerald Tablet,
Okay,
not
cool. I
the
screenshotted that. I'll look into it. Thank you.
plural.
Again, I was just kind of following the vibe. I was tuning in for a bit, and I was like, let me just see if I can talk to this guy. Just get something felt like I need some
No worries, man.
direction. So cool. I'll look into the Hermetic laws,
Awesome.
and let's see how that impacts my life. Nice chatting, bro. Enjoy.
All right, man. Have a good night. Thanks
Peace.
for coming up.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
All right. Cool guy. Cool guess. That was awesome. All right, let me scroll up here. I've been ignoring the chat a little bit. Let's see. It's greed. It's corn. He asked your thoughts on a book. Who did? Oh, the guy who was muffled? Books in his possession for 10 to 15 years. Oh, he wasn't saying he was possessed for 10 years. He had books that he possessed. Okay. I thought he was saying he was getting. I was going to say, bro, I think you need a doctor. I don't think you need to talk to me. I think you need a doctor. But okay, so he had books that he had in his possession. Okay, I couldn't hear him. That's all I was hearing. I was like, yo. See, you're a professor because you're asking us to cite our sources. I'm a mermaid. I'll decipher underwater bro codes. Somebody's got to do it. He was referencing a book on Hermeticism. He wanted your opinion on a particular book. Oh, well, damn. I would have loved to give my opinion on a book. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really couldn't hear him. To me, it sounded like he was saying he was possessed. So, yeah, I really didn't hear him. What time is it? Okay, 10 o'clock. You should troll the New Agers. It would be so fun. You got to be patient with people. A lot of them get nervous on here. Oh, yeah. So I don't try to rush anybody. It's just that guy, the second guy, I couldn't hear him. Oh, I missed the guess. Will this be on YouTube? This will be on YouTube. This is a fun live, so this will be on YouTube. It just sucks because this is on mobile. So when I put it up on YouTube, it's going to, like, most of the screen's going to be black. And then there's going to be a little tiny square with me and these words above here on it. And, that's not how you watch YouTube. Unless you're like me and you pay for YouTube Premium, and then you could just turn off your phone, or your screen and play me while you drive or while you clean or whatever. But most people don't pay for YouTube Premium, so you have to keep the screen on. And, yeah. The Kabbalion is Hermetic. It is not Hermetic. But if you have evidence otherwise, I would like to hear it. I feel like it's common knowledge that he's not his son. Yeah, I don't know where she got that. I've never heard that. I've never ever heard that. So I don't know where she got that. That he was Alexander the Great's son. What? When Hermeticism comes from 4th to 2nd century BCE. How can it be Alexander the Great's son? But whatever. When she mentioned the encyclopedia, my eyes rolled. Yeah, like the moment she said internet, the Wayback Machine, I knew we weren't going to go anywhere. I was like, all right, this is not. But let's see where this goes. And it went exactly where I thought it wasn't going. I really want to meet a New Ager who will say, okay, Mystical Rebel, you want to know why we believe we can channel just by opening our heart space, and you want to know why we believe that the Galactic Federation is real and all this other stuff. It's because in the 2nd century CE, so and so wrote it, but there's nothing like that. I would love for them to do something like that, but they don't have anything like that. So reminds me of communists. Do your own research. Yeah. Nothing against communists. My name is Satire. Hello, Mystic. Are these New Agers irritating you today? I mean, they irritate me every day. I'm constantly irritated by the New Age, but I do it to myself, right? I have to, in order to debunk this stuff, I have to immerse myself in it, right? It's to the point where I literally, when I go to sleep every night, I usually fall asleep to TV, but not YouTube. I go on the Pluto app. The Pluto app, if anybody knows what that is, to traditional old school TV. Because on Pluto, they have a paranormal channel and they have a ghost hunting channel. I fall asleep to the nonsense. That's how immersed I am into the New Age, into the paranormal, into occult conspiracy theory. I fall asleep watching Ghost Hunters and UFO Files and Alien Files Unsealed. You know, all those shows from the late 90s and early 2000s that used to play on the Discovery Channel and Destination America. Well, those days are over, and now it's on Pluto, and I watch it on there. I fall asleep to it. So I kind of do it to myself. I'm surprised that she did not do her research on who she was speaking to about Hermeticism. Not everyone knows about me and, how I come across and things like that. But what we just witnessed with that young lady was par for the course for the New Age. Par for the freaking course. It's sad. And I would say for you guys to venture out into the TikTok world after the stream and stuff like that and to find other streams by New Agers and start questioning, but they'll block you, they'll mute you, because they'll say that they're open to questions. They'll never do what I'm doing, right? Literally answer every single question other than the ones that are to each other. When, if I see something like right there, capitalist masochist is atting Ruzer Rakam and they're talking to each other, I don't read those. But when it's to me, I read every single one. A New Ager's not going to do that. They'll skip all they'll never go blah, 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 read it and then go, you know what? I don't know. I don't have the answer. They'll never say that. Because for some reason they think saying I don't know makes them seem less spiritual. No, it makes you seem more human, because humans don't know everything. I don't know everything. I don't know how many times on this live someone asked me something. I go, I don't know. I don't do dream interpretation. I don't know why you dreamt about that. I don't know. I don't know everything. But for some reason in the New Age, saying I don't know, being honest about your knowledge is a bane. So it's bane. Or perhaps she's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane. It's Bane. Oh, this account is a great way to communicate. Well done. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Dude, these calls. I enjoy them. I wish more New Agers would come up. I would love to do like official debates with New Agers and and I mean the big guys. I don't mean, and I'm not trying to be mean. Please, anybody request to come up. But I mean like the Teals. I would love to debate Teal Swan, or I would love to debate Billy Carson, or Elizabeth April, or Jay Campbell, or Ralph Smart, or any of those people, Isaac Weishaupt, and all those New Agers, June Lundgren. I would love to. But it'll never happen. Religion and magic can go hand in hand. They certainly can. There's actually a word for it. Magico religio. Man, let me play some Yamoja in Smite. I'm actually not into Smite. I have friends who tried for a long time to get me into Smite. Was not into it. So if Hermes Trismegistus came from Osiris, who then is Osiris? Is that a serious question? I'm not trying to be mean, but I thought everyone was aware of like I thought the Egyptian mythos, at least the main mythos, I thought it was like the Greeks, everyone knew it. Osiris is an Egyptian deity, the deity of the dead. I'm not trying to be mean. I just figured Egypt is so popular in video games, movies, TV shows, books, just all around general lore. I figured everyone knew at least of the main canon gods within, Osiris, Isis, Set, Horus, Amun-Ra, Hathor, Nut, Nuit. I thought everyone knew who these people were, or not these people, these deities were. Sorry, I didn't mean to be mean, but I figured that was common knowledge. I figured that was common. Who has a masonry question? I don't know. Can you explain 4 and 2? Yeah, so number 2, ghost hunting and paranormal research is trash. It's trash because of their methodology. It's not trash because I don't believe in ghosts or anything like that. I obviously believe in spirits of the dead. I practice occultism. But it's trash because you don't get in touch with spirits of the dead by walking into a haunted house and going, "Hello, is anybody here? I wanna help you," and press the power button on your spirit box. That's not the method to get in touch with spirits of the dead. The method to get in touch with spirits of the dead that every single culture under the sun will agree with is necromancy or necrosophy. Not a ghost box, not a spirit box. Sorry. Capitalism wants you to think so, but that's not the way to do it. You need to learn necromancy, and you need to learn necrosophy in order to get in touch with the dead. That's why ghost hunting and paranormal research is trash. Number 4 is all claims of channeling ETs or the Galactic Federation are lies and scams. So the Galactic Federation is this alien race, this interdimensional alien race that is supposedly light years ahead of us in technology and knowledge and all kinds of stuff. Yet for some reason they feel the need to contact 22-year-old Jessica, who lives in bumblefuck nowhere, and give a message to her to give to humanity. Meanwhile, Jessica has 10,000 followers across all her social media platforms. This is who this intelligent, interdimensional, light years ahead of us in knowledge and technology, that's a bad marketing strategy. You would think that interdimensional beings that are light years ahead of us in technology and knowledge would know good marketing. That's a bad, if you want to get a message to humanity, you would go to CNN or Sky News or Elon Musk, who owns Twitter. You wouldn't go to me, someone with 16,000 followers. I can't get your message to humanity, right? There's 55 people in here right now. That's nowhere near humanity. This message in here tonight is not getting out to humanity. It would be a bad marketing plan for any interdimensional being to contact me to get a message out to humanity. That makes no sense. If the aliens want to get a message out, don't they have the technology to just hijack our airwaves? Didn't we all get that? What was it? The emergency broadcast alert like 2 weeks ago. Why can't the aliens do that? You're telling me that they have the technology to stop nuclear war. That's what everyone always says. They always intervene during nuclear war. So they can stop a nuclear war, but they can't take over the airwaves and give us all a message from them. They have to do it through some sound bowl healer or some Reiki healer. Why? Sounds like they don't have as much power as they want us to think that they have. They can stop a nuclear war, but they have no idea how to overtake our airwaves? That doesn't make any sense. They can't hijack our cell systems to give us a message or a message to humanity. That doesn't make any sense, but they can stop nuclear war. The logic there doesn't track. The logic there doesn't follow. Why would the Galactic Federation or any alien race be interested in you and I? We are nobodies. And I'm included in that too. That's why I said you and I. So I'm not being mean. I'm included in that too. I have no real power. Why would an interdimensional being want to talk to me? There are kings, there are presidents, there are prime ministers, there are sheikhs, there are sultans, there are poobahs, there are rajas, there are emperors in the world that they can talk to, that can actually give them access to humanity. You and I cannot. Why would they want to talk to us? That makes no sense. That's like you wanting to talk to an ant. Why would you want to talk to an ant? That makes absolutely no sense. We know enough about ants to know about how they live and what they do. There's no need to talk to them. That makes no sense. Why would an interdimensional, highly advanced society want to talk to us? For what purpose? Oh, to bring us into the new. Why do they care? There's billions of other planets out there, right? Who cares then? Who cares about Earth? We're not important. That's an ego. That's an ego telling you that we're so important that they have to try to save us. There's billions of other planets out there. No need to save Earth. Again, that's like saving one anthill. Millions of other anthills out there. No one cares about that anthill. So let's pour some water down it. Nobody cares. There's millions of others out there. It does not make any logical sense that aliens would want to reach out and contact you and I. So that's from the logical perspective. From the esoteric perspective, can you give me an epistemic justification for how your methodology of channeling the Galactic Federation would get in touch with not only the Galactic Federation, but any spirit? What is your justification for that on an esoteric level? You have none, because there is none, because there is no legitimate methodology that exists that would say the same thing. Anytime we look throughout history and we look at cultures that wanted to entreat celestial beings, be them gods, aliens, spirits, whatever, there was always prep work. And I don't mean they meditated for 5 minutes and opened their chakras. There were weeks, if not months, of sacrifices, offerings, petitioning the god, redoing the temple to be more habitable and hospitable to the god or to the being or to the spirits or whatever it is that they're trying to invoke or call down or channel. It wasn't just this, hey guys, you want a message from the gods? And boom, they're channeling. But that's what you New Agers want us to believe you can do. There's no prep work. There's no getting into an alternative consciousness. There's no meditation. There's no offerings. There's no invocation. There's no evocation. There's no conjuration. It's just, hi guys, welcome to the live stream. Do you want a message from your ascended masters? And boom, you're instantly channeling them. Esoterically, that does not track. And you do not have an epistemic justification for why it would track. Your reason would be, you're mean. You're mean. You can't tell me what to believe. You can't tell me. That's all you got. Feelings and emotion. You've got no justification. That's why, from both a logical perspective and from an esoteric perspective, that's why the Galactic Federation and channeling them or any other entity of an extraterrestrial nature is lies and scams. So, looks like we got another guess.
Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, Benji?
Hey, what's up? So I had a
Not
question.
much, man.
I had a question about the Asclepius text with Hermes and his conversation with, I think, his son.
Okay.
From
Do you know what chapter? And we can go to it?
yeah. Give me a sec. It's the 9th book of Hermes Trismegistus, a universal sermon to Asclepius, the 9th book, and it is
The
on
9th book. The Universal Sermon to Asclepius.
yeah
Yes. Okay.
page page 100, and give me a sec. Let me just make sure.
Sure.
Okay, so
I don't
it's
think it would be
100.
page 100 though. That chapter ends on page 90. Sorry, page 87.
87. Okay, well, I'm just looking on a website, so I don't know if they page it wrong or whatever.
Oh,
However,
okay, okay.
the question I have with it, I guess you'd be familiar with it, is when he talks about begetting children and that men should beget children as it is basically one of the greatest good, the greatest pious acts that men can do, and if men do not beget children, they will be tortured in the afterlife by demons. So
Mhm.
what is your take on all of that?
So this is one of the reasons why scholars are torn on what came first, Platonism or Hermeticism, because that's more of a Platonic, more of a Neoplatonic take. So what is being referenced here is the act of generation, right? What he is saying is that man should do exactly what we were put on here to do, and that is to create and to generate. And for men specifically, the greatest act of creation or generation is the creation of new life, right? And so for the ancient man, I wouldn't say that this tracks for men in today's world, but for ancient man, unless you were going to be a king or a priest, or you were going to go to war and you were going to be a great warlord, or like a great warrior, you really weren't able to do much else to make a name for yourself other than to generate a family. So outside of those things, it would have been seen as a disgrace. Now, the part about demons and stuff like that, that's a Platonic sort of I don't know what the word is. That's a Platonic take on sort of like a Hellenized version of like, and by that I mean Greek, of like hell, if you will.
Mm,
But that wouldn't track for modern man. But that's what that's talking about, is that man should generate by creating life, and that should be his greatest, or ancient man, that would be his greatest sort of achievement. Again, outside of becoming a ruler, or outside of becoming a priest, or outside of becoming a warrior, there wasn't much else for men to do to make a name for themselves.
okay, so you're saying basically that the significance in those lines is mainly a cultural significance of that era?
That is correct.
Okay. Or one last question. I think
Sure.
it's also this text. It explains how the soul is basically within the blood of the being.
Oh,
Are
yes.
you familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah, what's your take on that?
So that's the Hermetic take on the Christian take, or the Christian saying that the blood is the life. So it's not that the soul itself is in the blood, but that the blood is that life force, right? It's, excuse me, it's the oil that makes us go, right? Without oil, your car's not going to run. So without blood, you're not going to run. So that's the think of think of blood as the activity, the ousa. I don't speak Greek, so I don't know if that's the right word, but the ousa of the soul. This is the soul in action, blood,
Hmm.
because
Okay.
it's what flows to give you life. So not that if if you bleed, you're actually bleeding out a part of your soul. That's not what that means. It's just that the blood is the life, and that blood is the active part of the soul. So
Okay, cool. All right, that's about it for me right now. So, just keep up good work and I enjoy the live.
thank you. Great
Yeah,
questions, man.
no problem.
Thank you for coming up. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
how do I get off?
Benji Comics, loyal follower. Appreciate the support, my brother. Thank you for coming up. Great questions. Do we got any new agers? I don't mind the questions. If you guys have questions and you want to come up and talk about the occult, that's fine too. But do we have any new agers, any paranormal researchers who want to set me straight? Ooh, aren't you just seething? I just want to prove the Galactic Federation to this guy. Come Come on. Where's all the Alex Joneses of the New Age and of the paranormal? I want to talk to you guys. Or where are the occult conspiracy theorists at? Where are all the Illuminati believers? All the Jay-Z sold his soul because he does this. Where are you guys at? Sorry, I ended a sentence with a preposition. Can't do that. I apologize. Please don't kill me, grammar Nazis. You guys are talking to each other a lot. It's always confusing when men talk about creating life because men don't create life. That's true. That is true. That's true. But you know what I meant. You know what I meant, Celestial. Don't kill the messenger. Do you have tips for hexing? I won't text irresponsibly. I do, but I don't think I should discuss that on the live stream. Send me a message and I can respond to you. Define Hermetic and why the Kybalion wouldn't be regarded as it. Hermetic is Greco-Egyptian. It's Greco-Egyptian philosophy, theology, and cosmology, theogony, and cosmogony. None of that is found within the Kybalion. So why would it be considered Hermetic? Hermeticism comes from the 4th to 2nd century BCE. The Kybalion comes from late 1800s. So actually, let me find out the exact year the Kybalion was printed. (1908). So that's a far cry from 4th to 2nd century BCE. La la la. What's a great book to start occultism? I have several videos on my Getting Started playlist that can help you with that. I'm biased because I practice Western esotericism, so I'm only going to give you those books. So you have to take my bias because you asked the question. But Donald Michael Craig's Modern Magic is probably a fantastic starting book if you want to start out with Western esotericism. Techniques of High Magic by Stephen Skinner and Francis King is fantastic. Gareth Knight's Occult Exercises and Practices is fantastic. Start there. It's both masculine and feminine energy meant to complement each other. That is correct, but I was trying to answer specifically what he was referring to or what he was asking about from a universal sermon, and it does talk about men and men only in the sense of creating children. Not that men only create children or that men are only need to create children, but it's talking to men, and so I was answering in that respect. Catch these holy hermetic hands. Holy crap. Y'all want to fight? Or did I say something about fighting? I didn't mean to do that. I don't want to fight nobody. I'm not trying to fight. But I have been known to get busy. What are your thoughts on other perceptions of reality besides your wakened state? So do you mean are there other states of consciousness? Of course, yes. We go through multiple states on the regular without magic. You sleep, you daydream, you engage in adult playtime, all those activities, you're in a different brain state, which technically means you're in a different state of consciousness. So yes, of course. Yeah, I know what you meant. It tickles me. Oh no, it's Rebel and his satanic live stream. Well, here I am once again. I'm torn into pieces. Can't deny it, can't pretend. Thought you were the one. Just kidding. If anybody recognizes that song, please don't take away my black card. Satin is the best fabric. Changed my mind. What about that spray-on fabric? What's that? Remember when Bella Hadid was at that one show by that Italian guy? I forget his name at the moment. And he did the spray-on dress. She walked out onto the runway naked. Well, almost naked. She had on underwear but no top, and she was covering her her top, and then they sprayed on the dress. That's cool. That's the best fabric. A spray on dress, bro? You mean to tell me I can get some body spray and I can make my own clothes, that's wild. That's wild. Well, maybe I can't because I have an extra appendage right here, and I don't know if spray on would cover that. I don't know. Oh my God, can you believe our grandparents know someone who knows someone from 1908? Yeah, I know. When my grandma was born in like the 30s or something. She was born in like the 30s or something like that. I don't know. Ooh, excuse me. How do you avoid new age concepts when learning if you have no fundamental foundations to begin with? That's a hard thing to do. The best thing to do is make sure that you always go back to the occult, right? So, in my opinion, anything spiritual that's not religious, so that's not like Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, or Buddhist, or Hindu, anything spiritual should be looked at through the lens of either occultism, esotericism, or mysticism. Every culture under the sun has spiritual paths with these components. And while I'm not a perennialist, there are perennial natures to the origins of occultism, esotericism, and mysticism. So even though every culture would describe esotericism, mysticism, and occultism differently, if you understand what's going on under the surface, it's all the same thing. So you should be able to interpret everything through those lenses, right? So if you don't have a foundation, I would keep the occult, the esoteric, and the mystical in your mind when you're looking to build a foundation. And any book that you come across, any course that you come across, vet it through that lens. Is it occult? Is it esoteric? Is it a mystical? Or is it new age? And go from there. Hermeticism is legit because it's spiritual, miracle, and lyrical. Amen. Amen. Satin silk, velvet silk. Listen, if it's not Versace, or if it's not Zegna, or if it's not Emilio Pucci, it doesn't touch my skin. If it's not Prada, if it's not Fendi, if it's not Lagerfeld, it doesn't touch my skin. Only designer touches my skin. And only European. Well, okay, Tom Ford. Okay, I lied. I only like Tom Ford suits. I don't like Tom Ford clothes. That's disgusting. But Tom Ford suits are very nice. But I prefer European. Jesus is Lord. Well, Jesus isn't British. Lords belong to Britain. Lords and ladies, like Lord Mountbatten. Jesus is not British. So, I don't know if there were any lords in, Israel. I don't know if there were any lords in Judea. Do you believe dreams can tell the future? I believe it's possible, sure. We're not fighting. It's a mosh pit in here. Mosh pits are wild. I don't know why anybody would ever want to get into a mosh. That's wild. If I'm enjoying some music and you punch me, it's over. It's over. I'm just trying to enjoy some Drake and you want to punch me, bro? All right. We better throw down right here, right now. What's the adult playtime? Well, I can't say certain words without TikTok, without the algorithm getting me, or without because there's always people in my chat waiting for me to slip up, waiting for me to say certain keywords so they can report me, because they don't like what I'm saying. It's normally people of a certain group, so I gotta be extra careful with what I say. So instead of saying instead of saying copulation and coitus, the other words, the other synonyms for those words, I used adult playtime. No, I'm asking, what are your thoughts on other perceptions of realities besides your awakened state? I must not understand what you mean then. Are you able to elaborate? What's your opinion on religion? I don't mind religion. I myself follow a religion. I am a Hermeticist. Oh, Donna. Do you practice this, or does this affect magic? do I practice what? What do I practice? And hair. I don't have any hair. So I guess magic is fake, right? Hair and oh, you mean spray on hair? You mean I can have long, luscious locks like Fabio? In a can? I can have a pimp perm like Snoop Dogg in everything he's ever done, like in every movie he's ever been in. I can have a pimp perm. Come on, come on! Don't play with me, because the next time you see me on the live stream, I might have a perm. So don't play with me. If you're telling me I can spray on some hair right now, I might come in here with some long, luscious, ebony locks. Liquid polymers, large molecules bonded together, additives, binders like natural latex. If you're going to use big words, Issa, I don't know how to finish that because I don't use big words. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joshing. I'm joshing. But at least I'm not Anthony. Arr, 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 arr. What are your thoughts on Carl Jung's theories on psych archetypes in the subconscious and the ties to the occult? I'm not a fan of Jung. I'm not a fan of the psychological model of magic. I think the psych model of magic is best for skeptics, people who can't get behind there being something else outside of this world that is observable for them to believe in. And so the psych model of magic is a good entryway into magic. But once you start engaging with magic, I truly do believe most people will switch from the psych model. It doesn't follow logically that you engage with spirits and then you still think that those spirits are aspects of your brain. When you engaged with that spirit. There's no way that it's part of your brain if you engaged with it. You can't engage with your brain because it's inside your head. So, yeah. My ex liked the paint on liquid latex. Whoa, Sid. You and your ex used to play with the liquid clothes? Oh my. Can you explain the tapestries behind you? Yeah, sure. So the one up top is Lucifuge Rufacal, the demon found within the Red Dragon or the Grand Grimoire, Le Véritable Dragon Rouge. He is the prime minister, I guess, if you will, of hell. According to that text, he is the intermediary between you and the devil. He's the one who appears when you have a request, and he's the one who takes it back to the devil and tells you whether or not yay or nay. So that's who that is. Lucifuge Rufacal. This is a hermetic axiom, I guess, here. This is as above, so below in pictogram. I mean, so you can clearly see this one, but you might not be able to see this one so much. It's the exact same thing, just dark form. This is not just as above, so below. This is the hermetic rendition of how man fell. So instead of the Christian fall of man story, it's the hermetic fall of man story, which is man saw his reflection in the water and fell in love with it. And therefore, he was not able to give his love to God. He gave his love to himself, and he fell. And so that's kind of, it's a dual thing. It's the as above, so below. So the microcosm and the macrocosm, but it's also a story of how man fell from the hermetic perspective. And then this one over here is Eliphas Levi, or I think it's Eliphas Levi. Other people say it's someone else, but Levi standing in a magic circle, summoning a demon, or if it's not a demon, the only other spirit I've ever seen look like that were gnomes. So it could be in earth elemental. I doubt it though. With the circle that he has here, I would assume it's a demon, but may not be. And then there's a picture of Baphomet on the wall in the image. So that's it. I like designer bags and shoes and clothes. Wait, excuse me. I like designer bags and shoes. The clothes can go all the way to the trash. It depends. Some of the clothes are no different than what you can get at like Old Navy or, you know, Banana Republic or H&M or Express. It's literally the exact same stuff. Just with not enough like pocket space. Like I got the S23, so this is a huge phone. And some of the jeans that I got from some of the they don't got pocket space. Like my phone is sticking out of my pocket. Like, bro, I need some deep pockets, bro. But I'm not really into like clothes in that way. So I guess in the same kind of a sense, I also like the accessories, like, you know, watches and shoes, sunglasses. I have a lot of designer sunglasses, a lot of colognes, watches, and things like that. But I do have a lot of shirts. My jeans are not designer, but they're high end, which is different. But I have a lot of designer shirts. It just depends. I don't know. I don't know. I just like nice stuff. Plus, I don't have any kids. I don't have any like real responsibilities. My car is paid off. All I have is rent and, you know, my, you know, utilities. So I don't really, you know, so I can spend money on, you know, things like that. Not everybody has that. You know, a lot of people have families that they have to feed. I don't. So Dior and Prada, no Gucci is ghetto and overrated. I was never a fan of Gucci. I think Gucci is so gaudy. Like, why? Like, what's with all the extras? I don't know. This isn't a fashion stream. It's. I like the timelessness of like Tom Ford, Calvin Klein, Balmain, things like that. Not Balmain. It's Balmain, and things like that. I like the clean lines, right? I like that. I don't like all the extras. That's why I like Karl Lagerfeld. Very simple. Black, white, a tie, some cufflinks, call it a day, carry my cat. We're done. We're done getting dressed. I don't need all the bells and the whistles and the listen. I don't know. This isn't a fashion stream. I have to ask if you have to ask, it means you're too innocent to know. You are not of beekeeping age. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not of beekeeping age, but I am of lion keeping age. So if you want to see my lions, I'm, I got that in common with Mike Tyson. We both buy lions and tigers and keep them out back. So, have you ever had hair? That's one of the great mysteries of the world. Did the mystical rebel ever have hair? I don't know if we'll ever solve it. I don't know. No, yes, I did have hair. I shaved my head August 16th, 2016. Why do I remember that? Because that was the day after Suicide Squad came out. And that's when I did it. The day after I went to go see Suicide Squad. The first one, which was the terrible one. The one with Cara Delevingne. Why she's in a movie? Well, we know why she's in a movie. Because of who her father is. We know why she's in movies. But she's not a good actress. She's never been a good actress. Stick to being a model. Whatever. Professor Mystic wearing a lace front. I'll do it. If I can get spray on hair, I'll do it. I don't use the psych model of magic to be a skeptic. I've never heard anyone be that way using it. Maybe I'm reading you wrong. I don't use the psych model of magic to be skeptic. I've never heard anyone be using it that way. So are you saying you've never heard of anyone using it as a model for skepticism? Or I think I'm reading you wrong. Don't you think archetypes are simply projections of the pure consciousness? No. Thoughts on Lucifer and Samael. Do you believe they are the same or different deities? Well, they're not deities. They are spirits. They are entities. But I do not believe they are the same, no. Yeah, Bune definitely wasn't an aspect of my brain. The room raised several degrees. Yeah, I don't know why people think that. Even Crowley, who was famously on the psych model, switched his position after he started engaging with the spirits. Yeah, anyway. All right, we'll be on here for another 15 minutes. That'll be what, 3 hours? Because I went live a little after 8, so that'll be 3 hours that we've been on here live. Lucifer is daddy. Yo, daddy, Lucifer. That's your daddy. He your baby daddy. Not necessarily a skeptic angle, but don't you think that God has to divide itself into something? No, not at all. I'm a hermeticist. We believe in emanationism, not division. No, 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 no. No. I'm a Hermeticist. Emanationism. You had a mystical experience like Jordan Peterson? I don't know Jordan Peterson's mystical experience. I know who he is, but I don't know about his mystical experience. Jordan Peterson. Jordan. I'm Jordan Peterson. Well, that's more like Kermit, so never mind. I mean, that's kind of how he talks, right? He kind of talks like Kermit the Frog. Can you please recommend a book on gnomes? On gnomes? You must mean the elementals. I don't know of any books specifically on the elementals, but there are plenty of books that talk about them in various chapters. One that readily comes to mind is the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. I think book 3. Either book 2 or 3. It's definitely not in book 1. Book 2 or 3. I need to know what makes you mystical. The practice of mysticism? That's like asking a doctor. I need to know what makes you so doctoral. Well, I am a doctor. I have a doctorate. So that's what makes me doctoral. Well, I am a mystic. I practice mysticism. That's what makes me mystical. They give men all the pockets and clothes, but never women. Yeah, why don't women have pockets? Well, because y'all got purses. And I guess that's why y'all keep everything in the purse. Because, like, I'd be seeing y'all pull some wild stuff out of the purse. I'm like, why is an Xbox controller in your purse? Like, what's up with that? Why are you on the road playing Xbox? You've seen all these white people with the cowrie shells in their hair and waist beads and then crying about juju? Yes. LMAO, channeling ETs is a scam? Yes, it is. I thought so too. Great. I'm so glad that you're on the same page. Everyone, subscribe to the Mystical Rebels YouTube channel and also join the Discord. Join the Discord. Link in bio. Would you ever consider wearing a suit from Hugo Boss? Not anymore. Hugo Boss is no longer a designer. They haven't been designer for quite a long time. Hugo Boss is not considered high-end. They are not designer. So no, I would not wear Hugo Boss. At least not Hugo Boss suits. I would wear Hugo Boss cologne. I'd wear Hugo Boss underwear. I have some Hugo Boss underwear. I have some Hugo Boss socks. I have Hugo Boss t-shirts, but I would not wear Hugo Boss suit. No. Sorry. Also, they supported the Germans. And not in the same way Chanel supported the Germans. Chanel was forced. God bless Coco Chanel. She was forced. Hugo Boss, they are German. Chanel is French. They are German. They made uniforms for the SS. I don't know what to the N-word is not allowed, so I can't say that. And not that N-word. That N-word is also not allowed. But the other N-word for the Germans. I can't say that word. So we'll just call them the SS. The Third Reich, right? They made the uniforms for them. So no, I would not wear a suit by Hugo Boss. But they're also not designer. They've not been for quite a while. That's what I'm saying. Like, Lucy and Sam Maia are two sides of the same coin, bro. I don't know what you're not getting. It's like that in every text. So you should know what I'm going to ask next. Now you're going to have to list that because you made a claim. Now you're going to have to list out those texts. It's not like that in every text. So now you have to list out the text that it's like that in because you said every text. So you made a claim. It's not like that in every text. Just because the 2 or 3 texts that you read say that they're the same entity does not mean that they're the same entity. Right? You must be the same kind of a person that believes that just because this culture has a god of the dead and that culture on the other side of the world has a god of the dead, they must both be the same god of the dead. No. Stop it. I don't know what you're not getting. That's what I'm not getting. Channeling ETs, you already read that. You ever do lives on YouTube? You should host the spirituality versus Abrahamic versus New Age debate. I don't have any following on YouTube. It's like 200 people versus the 16,000 over here. So I would prefer to go live where the following is. Is there syncretism in Hermetic principles and magic? Would it be effective in an eclectic framework? I don't think anything is eclectic or anything is effective in an eclectic framework. I think things can be effective in a syncretic framework, but I think people confuse syncretism and eclecticism. Eclecticism is just taking things that you like, whether or not they go together, and putting them in a pot and saying that they go together. Syncretism is taking things that you may or may not like, and they do go together. So if it's syncretic, it could work, but if it's eclectic, I don't think that works. And that's unfortunately what most people in the spiritual community are doing. They're eclectic. They're just taking a bunch of things from a bunch of different practices that they like, and they're putting it together, and they're calling it their own practice. But they have no justification for why any of it would work other than, you can't tell me it won't work. So I like the psychological model, but something will have to prove me otherwise personally. See? You're the perfect candidate for the psychological model. So start out with that. Keep going with that. I promise you, Babylon's child. I promise you. When you get to the point of actually so while you're casting spells and doing sigil magic and all that, you'll probably still be on the side of the psychological model. That's fine. I promise you, the moment you begin engaging with spirits, all of that will change. You will start questioning all of the psychological stuff. You'll be like, wait a second. Wait. How is this spirit in my mind? How is it a part of my brain when not only I am interacting with him, but other people can interact with him too? Because other people can't interact with your imaginary friend, right? You'd have to make that friend external from yourself. That imaginary friend that you had as a child, I can't access that friend because it exists in your brain, right? The only way I could access it is if you made it an egregore, and then you sigilized that egregore and gave it a name. Then I could contact it. But up until that point, it exists only in your brain. But I can contact the spirits of the Goetia, and you can too. We don't share the same brain, so how is that possible? Because these are spirits that exist externally to ourselves. If humanity died tomorrow because of nuclear war, spirits would still exist. But don't take my word for it. Engage. Continue along the path of the psych model. Keep doing what you're doing. And once you get to the point where you're going to engage with spirits, I promise you, it'll all change. All right. We got about 7 minutes left. I'm 50 questions behind. Let me scroll up here. Let me catch up a little bit. Let me get up to 10. Here we go. 10. All right. Same concept. Same concept as what? I think he needs to step back and rethink. I think he really needs a break. Me? I need a break? I don't think so. Lucifer and Samael represent duality at its best. Well, I'm not a dualist. So I'm not an Abrahamist. I don't believe in duality. So, well, not that I don't believe in duality. I don't believe in duality for God and any of his emanations. So, what's the psychological model? That it's all in your head. That everything is it's just physical practices to initiate psychological process changes in your head. And that's what causes the change in the outer world, is mainly the psychological model. Well, at least for the casting of spells. For spirits, they say that the spirits, well, at least for the Goetia, they are aspects of your brain, right? So, for example, Bune, right? Bune deals with money and stuff like that. And nobility and all that. Bune is not the demon of money, according to the psychological model. Bune is the part of your brain that deals with finances and investment and saving. And when you do a ritual to Bune, you are stimulating the part of your brain that deals with finances and investments and savings. And so when you're done with the ritual, Bune doesn't go into the spirit world and make things happen to then cause change in the physical world. According to the psych model, when you stimulate that part of your brain, it just makes you more motivated to then go and study investments, or to go and study finances, and to go and study how to save more. And then that should motivate you to begin doing those things. And then eventually you should be successful and wealthy. That's kind of a very ambiguous definition of how the psychological model of magic would look at spirits. It's all part of the brain. It's all in your head. I've engaged with spirits, yet I've engaged with spirits, yet the psychological model is still true. Two things can be true. I don't agree. So I agree that two things can be true, but the psych model and the spirit model cannot exist at the same time. That tells me that you don't understand what it actually means to be in one or the other. But that's okay. Nothing can make me believe that we are here to not understand. How can you think like that? Oh, you're talking to Texty. Okay, I was gonna say, what are you talking about? I never said anything like that. He seems like the kind of dude whose therapist needs a therapist for being his first therapist. Well, listen. If my therapist needs a therapist, that's because I'm the therapist. Do you get it? Make that make sense. Because I don't get it. Therefore, I need a therapist. Best way to begin spirit work: develop a solid foundation. You need a cosmological framework in order to what is a spirit to you, right? You need a framework to work within. You can't just start calling on spirits. What is a spirit, and how do spirits interact with man in that framework, right? How do spirits interact with humanity in whatever framework you're going to be coming from, right? Because if you have an entirely different belief system on how spirits work, why then would those spirits want to come and work with you, right? So you need a framework to operate within first. So you need some sort of a cosmological framework. Once you have that down, you need to then understand how man relates to that. So man as magician, man as magus. Where is the place of man in that cosmological framework, and what gives man that authority to work with spirits, right? This is why the psychological model and the spirit model cannot exist in the same sentence. Which is why you must be one or the other. But yeah, so it begins with the cosmological framework. My cosmological framework is grimoire tradition by way of Hermeticism. No, Jordan Peterson, that's who we're talking about. He's going off the deep end. Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, I don't watch any of his content. So, like, I know who he is. I've seen him on, like, other shows and stuff like that, but I don't watch any of his content. You ignored. I didn't say they were the same entity. How could I ignore if I literally read it out loud? I'm not just quiet and just responding to things. I read things out loud. There's no, that doesn't follow. I can't read what you said and then ignore it. That doesn't make any sense. Do you mean I misunderstood? That is viable, but I ignored? That doesn't follow because I read it out loud for everyone to hear, so I couldn't have ignored it. All right, we got a couple more minutes on here. I think it's both. You think what's both, Sid? And I believe duality only exists in this reality, not God's duality is real as for God's emanations. I don't understand what that means, but that's fine. But how would stimulating a part of the brain get me a job? That doesn't make any sense. I agree. Sorry. Is there someone here? Yes. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Apple and meat diet, girl dinner. What's going on in the chat? Even if you do not do ritual right and make contact. Wait. I think I missed something. Okay, but you are drawing attention to your finances, even if you do not do the ritual right and make contact. So in that sense, you have to put forth effort to improve your finances and draw importance to it. I agree with that. But is that justification for both the spirit model and the psych model? Is that what you're saying, Sid? Do you practice hoodoo? Yes, I do. So psychologically, you are going to be more careful and buy less Starbies. Listen, how dare you judge me in my Starbucks? Just kidding. I actually don't enjoy Starbucks. I actually don't enjoy coffee. Thoughts on astrology? I have no problem with astrology. I don't practice it myself, but I have no problem with it. It's a very important part of most occult practices. It's one of the hermetic arts. So I have no issue with it. I just don't practice it myself. All right, it's 11 o'clock. I'm still like, let me just get through these. Like, how could I stimulate my brain into making my employer hire me? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't get it. Les Starbies is a no for you. I don't really drink coffee. Did anyone try Elon Musk's new coin that gave money? Did it actually work? Elon Musk has a new coin. I thought he was just a Dogecoin, person. Yeah, I turned my life to Christ. I used to practice witchcraft. Also, elites and celebs are in it. Okay, thank you for that. Maybe your ritual makes you more confident, reminds you to send a thank you note after the interview. Oh, perhaps. I don't know. He's gone. He's back. I thought I heard Florence and the Machine intro. Really? No, this is just magic and music. Music, yeah, magic and music. Yeah. I like Starbucks fruit drinks. Only fruit drink I drink are the ones with alcohol in them. Not drinking coffee is a sin. Oh, well, listen. I guess I'm the sin committer then. Yeah, it was some financial stuff he posted and said he deleted it 2 minutes later. Really? Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know he made a new coin. And I'm part of the crypto community, so I would figure I would get an alert to that. But because I'm all over CT, but Jesus Christ is Lord and God. Well, according to your own theology, he's not. He's one aspect of God. He is one aspect of the Trinity. He is not the totality of the Trinity. But if you want to practice heresy, that's fine. Where do I start for Hermetic rituals? Well, there's no real such thing as a Hermetic ritual. But you can start, the closest you're going to get outside of the Greek Magical Papyri is Hermetic Magic by Stephen Flowers. So you can check that out. He even said he's not God in the Bible. Christians don't be reading their own Bible. Yeah, I don't know where they think that he is God, as in he's the totality of God. He is one aspect of the Trinity, sure, but the Trinity is an institution. That is why when Catholics pray, they pray to the divine institution, right? They don't pray, to the separate beings. They pray to the divine institution. God is an institution, 3 separate beings in one institution. People can't understand that, but they can somehow understand that 3 separate people can start a company and they're all considered founders of the company, but they're 3 separate people, but they're all founders. No one has a problem with that. Everyone understands how Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and some other guy can start Apple. No one has a problem understanding that. But when I remove CEO and input God, they're like, oh, well, this doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing. Remove CEO, put God. It's an institution. 3 people, 1 institution. 3 people come together, start a company, call that company name. All 3 people are founders. All 3 are not the founder. All 3 people do not represent one founder. They represent 3 separate founders, 1 institution. That 1 institution is the company. Same thing with God. 3 separate beings. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. 3 separate beings, 3 personalities, or as they say in Orthodox Christianity, what? 3 hypostasis, separate, in 1 institution. That institution is God. That institution is then divinely reenacted in the what? The liturgy. That liturgy is ruled over by the what? The synod. The synod is enacted by the what? The church. Why am I explaining Christianity to the Christians? Oh, that's right. Because they're modern day Protestants. But anyway, before my blood pressure gets all crazy, he is him. It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M. Judas, Judas. All hail the queen of the LGBTQ, Lady Gagme herself. 1 of 3. Sophia is the Holy Spirit. So the mother aspect. So I'm not a Christian, so I don't, I don't agree with that. That sounds like a Gnostic take or something. But that's cool if that's what you believe. Okay, I just got here. What are we talking about? We're talking about the occult, but I'm about to get out of here. I was supposed to get out of here 5 minutes ago, and I went on a rant about original Christianity versus this modern Protestant nonsense. Yeah, sorry, but be sure to follow me, Carly. Is that how you say your name, Carly? I don't want to mispronounce your name. And that's Stewie. You got Stewie on your. You got Stewie. I love Stewie. Who doesn't love Stewie? Everyone loves Stewie. Greatest cartoon character in the 21st century, literally. You know, why isn't there a Hall of Fame for cartoon characters, right? Like sports got it, radio got it, TV got it, film got it, radio and broadcast, but animation doesn't have like their own like thing. Oh, it's incorrect. There is one, Sid? What is it? What is it? What is the Animation Hall of Fame? And why isn't Stewie in there? Or maybe he is in there and I just don't know because I don't know about the Animation Hall of Fame. Is there an Animation Hall of Fame? Tell me right now! Tell me right now. Bro, I saw you earlier this year. Did you change your name? No. I've been the Mystic Rebel since day one. Since August 20th of 2019 when I started this account. I've been the Mystical Rebel since day one. Don't scream, I'm going to cry. Don't cry, I'm going to scream. Also, every character in Flapjack. What's that? Flapjack? I eat flapjacks. I don't watch flapjacks. I eat them. What's Flapjack? Is that a British show, Sid? No, I'm kidding. I know you're not British. But what is Flapjack? I'm not in the know. I'm out of the loop. It's a cartoon. I know that. But like, what is Flapjack? Hold on. Let me look this up. And if it shows me pancakes, I'm going to be very upset. Flapjack cartoon. Okay, it started to show me pancakes. It did start to show me pancakes. Flapjack. I feel like I've seen this kid, but not on TV. I feel like, is he like a comic book or something? Like in the Sunday newspaper? If anybody remembers that. If anybody remembers newspapers. Why have I seen this kid before? I feel like I've seen this kid before. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. Huh. Curiouser and curiouser. Is it a bootleg Family Guy? It doesn't look like it. It looks like something, I don't know, something on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. I don't know. It's not Disney animation. This is definitely either Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon animation. Probably Cartoon Network. Probably like after 11 o'clock at night type of a thing. That's what this looks like. But I could be wrong. Do you even know Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? I know it, but I don't watch it. Listen, you can't talk to me about cartoons unless you know Rupert. None of y'all know Rupert. Don't none of y'all know Rupert like I know Rupert. I was there watching Timmy the Tooth before he was Timmy the Tooth. I was there. None of y'all were there. I saw a Lakers window before she was even a thing. I am the original Arthur. Every day when you're walking down the street, that was me. The Parapsychological Association is backed by the American Association of Advancement of Science. All right. Thank you for that. It has adult themes and a darker feel, but also really whimsical and stupid. Just how I like things. Oh, man. Honestly, at face value, it sounds like corn. I ain't gonna lie. No way. I hope not. I'm DW? That's absolutely insane. Oh my God, I remember that cartoon. We have it. Which one? Rupert? I've only met one other person who knows Rupert. Everybody, what's Rupert? I'm like, you don't know the British bear Rupert? He flies his plane and wears a scarf? How dare you? Do you do rituals on or around Halloween? Of course. What do you think about the vax? We're not here to talk about political things. Get out of my laboratory, DD. Dexter's laboratory. Dexter's lab. DT, get out of my laboratory. Omelette de fromage. All right. I've been on here longer than I had to. I should have got off 10 minutes ago, but you guys got me talking about cartoons. So I'm going to go. It's been 3 hours, 3 glorious hours, but 3 hours. Powerpuff Girls, Mojo Jojo. Let me tell you about Powerpuff Girls. I don't know about Powerpuff Girls. I don't know. But I will tell you about Sailor Moon, okay? Let me tell you about Sailor Moon. First of all, they wore masks that covered their face like this. And everyone's like, I don't know who that is. Who is that girl? Or like the one criminal, the tuxedo man or whatever. He wore a hat and a white mask and no one knew who he was. I'm like, it's that guy. It's the same guy who was trying to seduce you 10 seconds ago. And they're like, I don't know. And why did they take 20 minutes to transform? They have to do a dance and they spin around and the stars come out and they're doing all the cheerleading moves. And it's like, bro, if I'm a villain, I'm not going to stand there and watch you transform. I'm going to unalive you. I'm not going to just wait for you to transform into your not Powerpuff Girl, into your Sailor Moon form. Right? It's like Power Rangers. It's morphin' time. And then you take a half hour to morph. Bro, I'm a villain. I got other cities to terrorize. I can't wait around here for you to morph. Do it or I'll come back. I'll go over here and terrorize them, then I'll come back and I'll finish my terrorization of you. Because you should have morphed like 7 hours ago. I'm still sitting here waiting. You're still doing your formations. Like, stop it. Stop it. Just transform. Or don't transform. Just beat them up. But no, they can't do that. I hate it. I hate it. The barber, surgeon, and candy wife probably made a corn. Whoa. Where can I watch that? Okay, I'm kidding. Hannah Montana. Hanny Montani? That last time I freaked out, I just kept looking down, stuttering. That's what I'm thinking about. It's like I couldn't breathe. You asked what's wrong with me? And then my best friend said she just being Miley? Yeah, I know Hannah Montana. But you wasn't expecting that. You wasn't expecting the musical knowledge in my head. I wrote all of Hannah Montana's singles. It was me. I did it. Okay? So stop it. Did you ever do the cheerleading routine with the Sailor Moon gang? I created the cheerleading routine. I was there day one in the studio. I wrote it down. I said, this is what they're going to do. And they did it. And they never gave me credit for it. I'm still in court right now. I actually got to go back to court after this live stream. It's midnight court. Adult court. Don't ask me what we do there, but it's adult court. You know the song? I know every song. I was present for it all. Y'all don't know Tokyo Mew Mew, and it shows. Oh, wow, I do not know Tokyo Mew Mew. I know Super Robo Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. I know Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi, but I don't know Tokyo Mew Mew. That sounds like you just made that up. That sounds like you made it up. I'm calling you out. You made it up. Wasn't Tuxedo Mask the guy who likes her and would tease her? Yeah, that's why I was like the guy who was trying to seduce you 10 seconds ago. Like, it's the same guy. But because he puts on a top hat and a white mask, that just covers his eyes, you're like, I have no idea who this guy is. He even talked with the same voice. It wasn't like he was like Batman where he changes his voice. He was the same voice. They're like, I have no idea who that guy is. I'm like, bro, it's the same guy. But anyway. I gotta go. Stop talking about cartoons from my childhood. I have to go. I mean, he did better than Superman. Who, Batman? Okay, yeah. Because Superman would do this. I am no longer Superman. I am now a regular guy. You can call me Clark. And now I am Superman. It's like, but bro, what? The glasses don't do it. Like craziness. All right, okay, for real. Stop with the childhood cartoons. I gotta go. Okay, stop with the childhood cartoons. I cannot live in nostalgia with you guys. Okay, what did Jay-Z say? I gotta move forward. The only direction. Can't be scared to fail. Searching for perfection. Gotta keep it freshin'. Even when we're sexing. Don't be mad at him when it's on to the next one. Okay? That's what he said. All right. Well, I'm going to go now. Thank you all for being here. Oh, wait. Why did I smack myself over? I didn't mean to do that. Let's put us right back there, right there. Okay. I'm going to go. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate the conversation, the questions, the dialogue, the nostalgic cartoons. I have proof that celebrities are occultists. Check DJ Khaled's most obnoxious interview ever. I mean, DJ Khaled is just proof that that celebrities are occultists. How can that man dance like that, as big as he is? No way! Must be magic. Must be the devil. He got the devil in him. But that's okay. I'll exorcise that devil right on out of him. For the low price of $7 million. He got it. He got the money because he the best, right? He dances? Yeah, he dances. You've never seen DJ Khaled doing all that dancing nonsense? It's ridiculous. It has to be magic. There's no way. He's not sweating? No way. God did! It's like that. Okay. I gotta go. Seriously, guys. I've been saying it for 10 minutes. I gotta go. You keep bringing up things. Stop it. I gotta go. Stop. STAHP. Stop. Okay? I'm talking like I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania, but I think I'm from New York. Stop. But anyway, I'm really gonna go now. Okay? I really gotta go. I'm really out. Okay? No more music. No more TV shows. Okay? I gotta go. All right. Have a good night. Thank you all for being here. As always, seek the mysteries. Peace.